you have been watching the Wofford and VMI game. We're just underway here in Boone, North Carolina. Furman and Appalachian State, two teams undefeated in conference play. A holding penalty defensively has given Furman a first down after they were stopped on their initial 3 attempts. Here's Crosby breaking it to the outside, breaking it to midfield, and he is all the way inside the 40-yard line of Appalachian State. Ernest Crosby, the senior from Greenville, North Carolina, and he is off to having another big game against Appalachian.
Dave, they've had some problems injury-wise on that front line for Furman. Apparently starting to get more and more experience on that front line. Here you see it's just a little delayed handoff, and Crosby does the rest, cuts it to the outside. When he turns outside those 2 corners, you can see they got pursuit from behind, and Crosby had the goal line in his sights, but good pulling by the guards. Good execution on the left side there for Furman.
So the big penalty and now the bigger run by Ernest Crosby, and it's first down at the 37-yard line. Opening possession of the game for Furman. They give it to the fullback straight ahead, and there is absolutely nothing doing as Hall made the stop there. Derek Russell, the sophomore from Austell, Georgia.
Russell's the bigger of the two, 229, and the other man that plays there is Lewis Ivory, just a freshman at 195. Fullbacks in the past, Dave, for Furman have really hurt people. For example, back during their championship years, Kenneth Goldsmith, I mean, he would bust play after play. Another later one was Dinky Williams, so they've had good fullbacks in the past. Not sure these two will stack up to those two, but certainly they like to hurt you with that quick opener by the fullback.
Now, conventional I formation is Hall with the half roll. Throwing, and that one may have been trapped by Kitchens. The official on the scene says he's nodding his head as if it was a good catch. Or is he just agreeing with the officials who said it was a trap? I think the latter is the case.
It looked like he was going to try to call it complete. It definitely skipped off the turf that time. And it was good backside pursuit. Watch here again as they roll out hill. Watch the pursuit coming from the backside. Right there. They try to roll it out. Just got a last-second block at the last moment, knocking down the linebacker in the pass. Again, just a little short of Kitchens.
On the Furman sideline, the veteran Bobby Johnson. He's a veteran at Furman, graduated from Clemson, but has been at Furman from his master's for about the last 2 decades. In his 5th year as the head coach now. 29-22 record coming in.
And also enjoyed 17 great years as an assistant during Furman's championship years there. Really knows the program, and even a better part of that is the fact that most everybody on that sideline is a Furman grad. They really kind of bleed, if you will, the Paladins purple there.
Right, it's not a stepping stone, it's a career at Furman.
Exactly.
From the shotgun. On 3rd and 10, Hill has time. Screen forming. They have it diagnosed, and even if that ball had been caught by Tyrone Berrien, it would have been a loss on the play because Adam Nyheisel was there. He read that one all the way.
That was one thing that Appalachian State, in talking to Jerry Moore and their coaches, who, by the way, are in the booth next to us, is the fact that they really had to play the wides because they try to dump it and let the speedster Berrien, we mentioned Kitchens, do what they need to do. That time they diagnosed it well. The linebackers gave ground. They flared to the outside and covered it. Had even caught that ball, Dave, as you pointed out, had been very little gain, if any.
Well, we've got a punt, nominally a punt coming up. Furman uses somewhat of a different punt formation than you might be used to seeing. And it'll be high and short. The ball is going to hit at the 13 and be down to the 2-yard line. Terrific downfield coverage on the play for Furman. That was a Daniel Robertson covering up. And with no score, we'll be returning to Boone, North Carolina with more of the Furman Appalachian State game right after this. Well, Furman did a terrific job of downing the punt on the 2-yard line. So Appalachian State starting with their backs against the wall. They gave it to Terrence McCall on first down. He went absolutely nowhere, so you didn't miss a thing. We'll start with 2nd down and 10 at the 2-yard line.
They try to keep this offense as balanced as they can. It'll be interesting to see what they come out with now as Jeremiah gets ready to throw, I think, on this down, even out of the end zone.
Now Jeremiah with a roll to his left. He might keep it to try to get some operating room, and if he does, he didn't get very much, up to about his own 5-yard line. Jeremiah, the better of the quarterbacks at running on the Appalachian State team. David Reeves, the better passer.
Offensive line has been a real plus for Appalachian State in the fact they feel they've got some excellent speed. They got some guards that can pull out in front of. Jeremiah, as you saw there. And McCall, who's had the great year of running the football, is always led by one of those pulling guards that have the great speed to stay out in front. He uses them well.
Sean Clark back on the offensive line after major back surgery. Started the season slowly, but now he's come on. This is going to be a 3rd down and 7 situation. Jeremiah looking to throw from his end zone and airing it out deep. Double coverage, and the catch almost made right at the midfield stripe. What an effort out there on the receiving end by Rashad Slade, but it was ultimately broken up by Richie Jackson, who has 4 interceptions this year.
Those corners for Furman, you pointed out Jackson has 2. The other corner has, actually Jackson has 4. The other side has 2. They've covered extremely well as you look at some of their players here.
Orlando Ruff is the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, selected by the coaches of the Southern Conference. Now a punt from the back of the end zone. Ryan Riley does a good job to get it away in a high nose-up spiral, driving the return back inside the 40-yard line. And to midfield, that's as far as it goes on the return by Zach Smerdzinski. So good operating position for Furman as they get the ball for the second time, just a shade over the midfield line on the Appalachian side of the field. We have a penalty marker to sort out. We'll get to that when we return in a scoreless Southern Conference game. Well, initially, Furman had excellent field position after the punt. They were just on the Appalachian State side of the 50-yard line, but there was a holding call against Furman on the return. And so now, instead of being just across the 50, they're just inside their own 30.
David, it'll be interesting to see what Furman tries to do. You saw them try to get the ball to both their wide receivers on their last possession. It helped, of course, they got a penalty that preserved the first down for them. Now, I would be very, very taken back if they did not try to establish some kind of running game. The field position game is still in their favor. They've got the ball at their own 30, forced Appalachian State to punt out of their end zone. So I think if Bobby Johnson wants to try to do anything, he's got to establish that running game and probably has to try to do it on this series of downs right now.
Well, last-minute conversation with the assistant coach, Lamb, the former great quarterback at Furman. That's Justin Hill trotting back to the huddle. 0-0 here. This is Furman's second possession. They took it fairly deep in Appalachian State territory, but then had to punt. And we'll see what Furman does. They've used about 3 or 4 different formations already.
They have, and even coming out of the shotgun 2 or 3 times already. That normally is something they don't use a lot, but they've used it early already here against Appalachian State. This time Hill under center again.
Lewis Ivory is the fullback, number 34. And Ernest Crosby the tailback. Crosby's run well in the early going. And they fake it. They look to throw it in the flat. Waiting out there and having the ball bounce off his hands is Michael Owings. That was a very catchable ball. A well-executed play, but Owings just had to go through his hands.
That time you could see that they they decoyed that as a run, and the fact that both of their wide receivers stayed along the line of scrimmage to block. So it was definitely a play to the tight end. We're trying to draw Appalachian State in the middle and break him to the outside. Didn't work, though.
Michael Owings, 1 catch on the year. He's out of 96, North Carolina. Second down now and 10.
I've often wondered where they got that name. Maybe you've got the answer for me. I don't know.
I've often wondered why he doesn't wear uniform number 96. Here's the fullback fake and the inside keeper by Justin Hall. Well, usually you see the quarterback in the option try to at least get outside the tackles. He cut that one right inside and paid the price after a very short gain.
And I tell you what, one of the things Appalachian State defensively is doing, they're playing their particular zones. Hill has had very little opportunity, certainly with 460 yards throwing already, to really hit the pinpoint passes. But now even the option is being read well by Appalachian State down the line of scrimmage. Rocky Hunt, who's just a sensational player out of Gastonia, North Carolina. They call him the real stud on this defense. Really blocked that one up in a big hurry.
And this is a defense for Appalachian State that limited Wake Forest to just 55 yards rushing a week ago. Protection breaks down, and Hill falls down. That's a loss on the play. In any event, it's going to bring up 4th down and long. So the Appalachian State defense does the job again, and Furman's forced to punt.
Jamie Laverne out of Chesapeake in Virginia. This is a guy that broke through. Watch how quickly he comes. And again, he came up the middle, got the support from the outside, but you can see how well they just penetrated that offensive line of Furman, where they've had some injury problems as well, and got a big major sack right there.
All right, the punt coming up now from Furman. We've got number 1, Darrell Skinner, back deep. And the punt is a nose-up spiral. Skinner's going to make the catch at his 35. Trying to decide which way to go, and his indecision cost him as he was brought down on a fine tackle. He lost about 5 yards on that return. So it's still a scoreless game here in Boone, North Carolina. Furman and Appalachian State will return after these words. By Reebok, the official shoe and apparel company of the Southern Conference. And by the Greensboro Convention and Visitors Bureau. Greensboro, home of the 1999 Southern Conference Basketball Tournament. Welcome back to beautiful Boone. Dave Cohen along with Sam Smith. Will Boughton made the tackle on that punt return. And Appalachian State goes on offense for the second time. The quarterback is Daniel Jeremiah, transferred from Northeast Louisiana. Didn't have to sit out a year as he went from 1A to 1AA. Here's a quick pass in the flat and a catch made. And that was Darrell Skinner.
Skinner's been a favorite receiver of David Reeves. Actually, Jeremiah likes to spread it out even more, but Skinner, an excellent athlete, catches the ball well. He's got 13 catches for over 214 yards coming in. When you add Gibson on the other side, they've got some pretty good people to work with, and look how well he's throwing the ball already, even though he hasn't thrown that much. Still excellent percentage.
Came in last week, essentially in the third quarter against Wake, hit his first 7 passes through the long touchdown pass, and then scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime. A come-from-behind effort in overtime. And here's a nice cutback run by McCall. I don't know if he had the breakaway, the tearaway jersey, but he was carrying somebody with him. That's a first down carry.
Well, offensive line coach, certainly Stacy Searle's got to like this, because that offensive line did exactly what McCall needed to do. And that, of course, was to hit the opening. Watch how well they sealed it off in a hurry. Hit that backside block as well. And the rest they leave up to McCall. By the way, one of our officials has been downed on the football field after that great run by McCall.
Yeah, we saw it on the replay. Might have been the umpire who got sandwiched in there in that misdirection action.
You know, this is interesting because in the last 3 weeks, there have been 4 officials that have either been run down, knocked down, or thrown down in a football game. Obviously, they've always been there, but all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks, it's kind of coming to the fore that and several have been injured quite badly.
Roger Pedrick is the umpire. It is the umpire. He got blindsided. It's kind of a crackback block, looked like by a wide receiver, and he may have knocked the defensive player right into the umpire. Roger Pedrick being attended to. You get hit like that from the blind side, you definitely are a candidate for getting the wind knocked out of you, and if that's all that happens, you're fortunate.
You know, it's always interesting. The official, the first thing he checked was make sure his yellow flag was still in his pocket, though, so I think he's feeling a lot better right now, Dave. At least we hope so, as he really took a crackback. You know, it's interesting to see how the field position has changed here. We made mention that Appalachian State punts out of their own end zone. The holding call against Furman really helped them. Then a rather poor punt that they got a good run back, and now they've got McCall busting a big one. So Appalachian State has kind of turned the field position right back in their favor, much to the chagrin of Bobby Johnson.
0-0 is our score. Daniel Jeremiah is going to take advantage of this delay to trot over and talk with his offensive coordinator. There is Roger Pedrick. Hopefully he won't feel the total effects of that until sometime later tonight or tomorrow, because you know he's going to feel it then.
The bruises will hurt a little worse tonight, that's for sure.
There he is standing next to Will Boughton, the outstanding freshman linebacker and the freshman of the week. All right, so here we go with the first down. Jeremiah on the deep handoff to McCall, breaking it to the outside. He'll have to do it by himself. Turns the corner at the 30, and he takes it down to the 20-yard line. He had absolutely no blockers out ahead of him, but with his speed, he was able to turn the corner and get close and pick up another first down.
Appalachian State, you saw them on the other side, the right side. They sealed it to the inside. Look how well. They don't have anybody out in front of him this time. They just seal it inside. Nobody's out there, as you pointed out. It's McCall on his own. Wide receiver's doing a good contained block. And he gets another big gainer here for Appalachian State. Great offensive blocking, that offensive line.
Luke Manuel has come into the game. He wears number 10. He's a junior out of Fletcher, North Carolina. They brought in the play. Luke had his dad played at Duke, and he had a chance to play football there, turned down that opportunity and decided to walk on here. And he's a redshirt freshman now, seeing action in the first quarter in a scoreless game in Boone, North Carolina. First man gets it, the fullback, and a quick hitter off the right side of his line. And that is Kareem Young, senior out of Tampa, the big back at 233 pounds.
He actually started the year but pulled up with a hamstring, giving, of course, opportunities for other backs to come through and do well. By the way, back to that last play a moment ago, not this one, but the previous one, they did make that change. As Clark moved over to the right tackle, they moved Billy Young up to the left tackle. Number 79, he, along with Hodges, were the two key blockers on that last play that sprung McCall. So they've had to adjust a little because of injuries up front for Appalachian State now.
So far, we have not called the name of the tight end. Frank Leatherwood blocking on the right side is McCall takes the pitch and cuts it back up the middle. That's one of those plays where the tailback sort of has the option to pick his hole and decide where he's going to go.
You know, I was looking at some of the percentage as far as the average on per carry, 4.2 for Appalachian State, almost 6 for Furman. So their ground games, I feel, are very solid. And right now, when you get a guy by McCall that's running as well as he is right now, I think that number is averaging like 100 a game, could be even better today.
McCall had the big run a week ago, scored the touchdown we showed you at the beginning of the game, 47-yarder against Wake Forest. Picked up 112 against the Demon Deacons. Now on 3rd down and 3, and Jeremiah perhaps didn't like the formation he was looking at, and with his team knocking on the door, getting close to the red zone, he takes a timeout with 6.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And all season long, Sam, Appalachian State has owned the first quarter. They've outscored opponents 37-0.
And they've done another good thing, and I was very impressed here when Jeremiah looked in the defense, didn't see what he liked, because they were 11 of 19 last week, I think, in third down conversions. I mean, that's unheard of. And now they're looking at a 3rd down, a chance maybe to score early in this first quarter. And he didn't see the defense that he wanted it, and he calls a quick timeout. Good heady play. You made mention, just a sophomore. He and Reeves, very young players, be around for a long time. Makes the right decision in this case.
Let's go down to Matt Swearad. Matt.
Thanks, Dave. I'm here now with Debbie Richardson, Assistant Athletic Director, Senior Women Administrator at Appalachian State. And the Southern Conference Volleyball Tournament is coming here to Boone, coming up next month.
Yes, sir. It's coming in here on November 20th through the 22nd. We'll be hosting 8 of the top 10 teams in the conference.
Now, one of the top teams is the Lady Mountaineers.
Yes, we're tied for first right now. We're very proud of that and hope to keep that going. But it's a really, really tough, tight race right now. People are beating each other, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we just hope we're in that top group.
3-day event, is it?
It's a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Teams will come in Thursday for practices, and we'll have an honors dinner that evening for all the teams that are here. And then there's 4 games on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and the championship on Sunday, which is right here on Fox Sports South.
Well, best of luck. We're happy to carry it, and good luck.
All right, thank you very much.
Let's go back upstairs.
On the 3rd down and 3 option, a slow forming option play. Ultimately, the pitch to Terrence McCall, and I'm not so sure he got close to the first down. He did not, and the field goal unit is coming on.
Interesting call on the fact that it had such good success of just actually the handoff and squeezing down on the defensive lineman. That time they elected a pitch, hoping to get Furman kind of locking on the inside, but didn't work. Furman did a good job defensively.
Stuart Jones is on to try a field goal of about 31 yards from the right hash mark. Stewart is 3 of 4 on the year. The hold was bobbled. The kick is not end over end, but it finds its way through the uprights, and Appalachian State gets on the scoreboard first on the 31-yard field goal by Stuart Jones. 3-0, Appalachian State.
You know, Dave, they used to say they all count. There's no pictures. Well, now we've got pictures, and it wasn't pretty, but as long as it's between that uprights, it gets them off. And it's a big statement here for Appalachian State. They, of course, got the holding penalty on Furman to help them keep them back in their own territory. Got the good return, 2 great runs by McCall, and now they get a 3-pointer out of this one here in the first period.
Let's get another look at the field goal. The snap was fumbled, then it was put down, and it was accurate, I'll say that. They don't give you style points.
On a scale of 1 to 10, beauty-wise, it was down about a 2, though.
Looked like an old Joe Cap pass.
And that wasn't even tipped either, right?
Wait a minute. Is that Steve Martin on the sideline?
He's got a couple of good stories to tell you. I'll tell you that for sure. Bobby's probably, and obviously on the other side, Jerry Moore, not better competitors anywhere. I mean, they'll play cards, they play golf, they play anything. They want to compete in anything they do, and they really churn. They say, I thought an interesting question at the press conference on Tuesday. They asked him, he said, how do you get away from football during the football season? And he kind of paused and he said, we don't. It's a 7-day-a-week job. And he said, we're all very, very happy. There's a good look at Jerry Moore, the great successful program he's had going here.
And I know Jerry Moore on the Appalachian State sidelines, that is not... Is that Jerry?
That's Jerry.
Oh, yeah. Well, he says on Fridays, he really tells his staff, hey, attend to personal business. Take care of family matters. Stay away from the game if you can on Friday. And this week, he's proud to say he accomplished finishing a treehouse he built for his grandson.
Like that idea? Wow, what a kick.
No return. And following that touchback, Furman will go with a first down at their own 20-yard line, trailing 3-0 here against Appalachian State.
Dave, I'm sure we pointed out early on, of course, that win over Wake Forest last week was the 100th career victory for Jerry Moore. And, of course, the gentleman I knew out in the old Southwest Conference when he played at Baylor, I was out at Texas Tech. He's come a long, long way, but he's really found a home, and he and all of his whole family really love it here in Boone.
He coached at North Texas State up in Denton, then went to Texas Tech 4 years there, and then on here to the high country. Justin Hall on the give to the tailback, and he is snowed under for a loss of about 4 on the play. Is that Crosby? Yes, it is. Subtract 4 from his total.
Well, defensive coordinator John Wiley has really done a great job with Appalachian State. They have absolutely just smothered this run. You can see how well they are playing their zones. They do get the crack block from the offside, but it doesn't work. They just kind of glide right through and get the big tackles. And on the inside, they came up with the gun there. That's Hulbert, Matt Hulbert, out of Marietta, Georgia. He's a walk-on, by the way, and has built himself up to about 260 pounds, and he makes a big hit there.
Now they'll operate from the shotgun, sort of a spread formation, and Hall has everybody out on the pattern, but can't find anybody, and down he goes, sacked again, this time back at his 13-yard line. So you've got to credit the coverage for that sack, because they sent everybody out and he couldn't find a single receiver.
We talk so much about Kitchens all day, Dave. Also watching on that play, Kevin Tatum out of East Bend in New Jersey comes out, just a freshman. He was stride for stride by Kitchens. And you don't see it here, but they're streaking up the right side, and anytime you can't let go of that football, you're going to get people on you, and they did there. As Hunt and company come full speed, and the big man is Laverne on the inside again.
Sam, they're forced now with a 3rd down and 17 situation. Here's where the defensive line can really tee off on the quarterback. And immediately they bring the linebackers out. I was going to say,
look where the linebackers are. They say, we want a piece of that.
Justin Hall took one look and said, wait a minute. I need a little more help.
That's right.
He takes a timeout.
Tough situation for Furman. They have had so many injuries, mostly on the defensive side. They, as a matter of fact, had the 10 starters, 6 from last year that didn't return, and then they've got 4 others that were starting this year have now gone out with injuries. On the defensive side, they've had it on the offensive side as well, and right now, Appalachian State's making them pay. They just cannot hold that defensive line out of there right now. As you pointed out, laying their ears back, and they're coming.
Well, next Saturday here on Fox Sports South at 12:30, it's a battle in the OVC when the Murray State Racers look to avenge last year's loss to the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Murray State, Eastern Kentucky, next Saturday, 12:30 on Fox Sports South. You could not paint a prettier picture than that.
By the way, see, there's the one tree that's turned so far. You see it there? That's the only one right now.
A lot of people showed up this weekend to see the turn of the fall foliage, but like I said, maybe 2 weeks away from the peak.
Well, let's just make another trip up here. How about that?
Absolutely. I got to come back here and do a little skiing.
By the way, we have helped the economy out at the outlet malls, by the way, in Blowing Rock again. I want to pass that on.
Have you visited any antique stores yet?
No antiques as of yet, no.
That's tonight after the game. 3 people behind the quarterback for protection, and they just run it for safety to try to get some operating room for the punter. Furman stymied on offense in this possession with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. So now the Appalachian State punt return team onto the field. The hometown fans are showing their appreciation for the defense. And back to punt is Lee Willis, averaging 38 Had a very good punt his first time in the game. Punt that was down by Shelva Smith at about the 2-yard line. Now Tatum is back to return along with Darrell Skinner. No rush at all. And a pretty good nose-up spiral. That's going to hit and take a tremendous Appalachian State bounce. I don't think I've ever seen one go that far backwards so quickly. At least 10 yards after the bounce.
Looked like your wedge shot there for a minute. Just took a straight bounce. That's not going to be much over about 15, 16-yard kick. And with that, Appalachian State continues to win the field possession battle. And their position right now is, I guess you'd have to say, is excellent. Watch this thing take that kick. Jump ball, I got it.
Wow.
That had to go back, what, 8, 9, 10 yards?
Yeah. So now Furman on defense has to contend with an Appalachian State team that comes out with a one-back, only McCall in the backfield. And they fake the deep handoff to him. Jeremiah with time rolling, throwing a floater out toward the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Skinner with a catch and a touchdown pass from Daniel Jeremiah.
Dave, this was a nice job by Appalachian State's offense, and the fact that they decoyed McCoy on the run to the strong side, which they did all the blocking on that side. Rolling Jeremiah out, who can do such a good job, and it literally was a jump ball at the goal line, but it paid dividends for Appalachian State.
Well, Jerry Moore kiddingly said Daniel Jeremiah sometimes throws passes like Sonny Jurgensen. He brought up a name from the past. He said, well, sometimes he doesn't throw the prettiest spiral, but it gets there. And that time, Skinner made quite a play for his second touchdown reception of the year. He's also had 2 called back that were over 70 yards. Here it is again.
Watch how well he's rolling out. Now, this is to his left. He's got to stop and then kind of square up. He does throw the floater, but look how well Furman is covering this, and look at a great job Skinner as he jumps between 2 of the defenders and makes the catch here. He's one of the 2 receivers they definitely want to get to, Gibson being the other. Again, look how well he gets his feet under him, and he knows he's going to get popped, and he delivers it right on the goal line. That's a big play for Appalachian State.
3 defenders around Skinner, but somehow he out-athletic them, as the coaches like to say.
That's right, he did.
And that is a big, big score and a 10-0 Appalachian State lead, and they're still holding on to that first quarter mastery. Now they've outscored the opposition 47-0. And a big hole for Furman and Bobby Johnson here in Boone, where they have had tremendous success in their last half dozen visits.
You know, even though they're down now, as they get the extra point to make it 10-0, you get a good series going here. You get a little confidence back in your offense, and they've got to build it in this series. This could be a long, long day for Furman. But you get a good kickoff return by this man Kitchens, and you get an offensive series, even if you don't score, and then put Appalachian State a little further back on the field possession situation again. They're right back in this football game. So 10-0 is nothing for Furman to overcome, if indeed all these injuries haven't taken all the life out of him here.
And it is Desmond Kitchings waiting back near his goal line, waiting the kick from Stuart Jones. 10-0. App State in the lead.
He's going to get a try at it.
Hemmed in the corner. Here he comes. Ooh, lights go out shy of the 20-yard line.
And unfortunately, that hurt the Appalachian State player, too. I believe it's Denver Walker.
Kitchings got up. No problems for him, but we have a downed Mountaineer.
This is one big collision on this run back by Kitchens here.
Let's hope it's just the wind knocked out of him.
You stop to look at replays, and you look at film footage of kickoff returns and punt returns, and it's almost amazing that we don't have more injuries than they do. Let's watch as Kitchens takes this right up the middle and see if the collision came on the contact here. Well, that is the man on the bottom, and again, it's going to be 66, it appeared to me, did it not?
Yeah, it looked like
Ben
66.
Yeah, Ben Akins now. And I tell you what he might have done. He might have actually fallen on the heels of Kitchens. At least I hope that's all he did. Hopefully just knocked the wind out of him here. Appalachian State training staff out there, as they always do a good job. Look at from the back angle now.
The wedge forms.
There's the tackle. And actually, it was on the contact. It wasn't fall on the heels. He really just Maybe got a stinger pretty good on the helmet there.
Looked like he got hit twice. Once on the left of the screen, then a second time. That scoring drive, boy, talk about cashing in quickly. One play, 36 yards, and Skinner getting the touchdown pass from Daniel Jeremiah. And now
that's good to see.
Akins is up. And currently no worse for the wear. That's easy for me to say.
Yeah. It's great to see him up and hopefully walking off under his own power here. Andy Massey, by the way, the trainer for Appalachian State and his fine staff. These guys don't get enough credit. They are everywhere at all of the levels, both for the men and women, all over the entire school. Sometimes you see them only when somebody's fallen, but you don't really realize how much work they put in just to get these kids on the field week in and week out.
How true as Furman gets the ball back, down 10-0 now. Justin Hall operating with the I formation behind him. And it is Crosby who's run well early in the game, breaking the initial tackle and taking it out to his 27-yard line. Stop on the play made by Ryan Watson, the freshman out of Largo, Florida. Matt Swirad on the sidelines.
Well, Ben Aiken has a concussion, guys. He is done for the day. They're going to bring him right now towards the locker room and get him checked out. He does have a concussion, so Aiken is done for the day.
Second down and 4.
Yeah, Ben walking well, but you see not much in the head movement department.
Yeah.
He's trying to get it back upstairs.
It's a pretty good loss, too. Aiken had been a very good special teams player, along with playing on both sides of football since he arrived here at Appalachian State.
Second down and 4. It is Crosby with running room. Out to about the 33-yard line. That should be enough for a first down.
Crosby again.
They're going to mark it shy of the 35-yard line, but already they're moving the chain. So Furman trying to get back some offensive momentum. With 2:11 to go in a long first quarter. They've had the ball 3 or 4 times.
As you take a look at this again, nothing fancy about it, just a straight handoff. A little bit of delay by Crosby. One of the key factors is that the offensive line coach and folks for Furman, I'm sure, have talked about those guys. Just hold those blocks a little longer. That's all I need. Just a little bit longer, maybe one more count. Get those backs off their hip, and that time Crosby, who we know can go from end to end very quickly, used it very well.
That was his 5th carry of the quarter, 38 yards. And they play action fake his way, and now Hall cranks it up deep down the middle. He's got a man. It's dropped downfield. That would have been a quick 6, but Desmond Kitchings could not hold on. The man, the weapon, the incompletion.
One of the key words that Bobby Johnson told me about Kitchens is, you see the disappointment there for Hill, is that he has to be a little bit more consistent in catching the football. I mean to tell you, this ball was laid on a string behind the defense and actually caught it almost, it looked like off his face mask, just he tried to look it in. But what a great series that was with a couple of running plays, then they opened up for the big throw and trying to do something here offensively for Furman.
That was a tough incompletion for Justin Hall, who is now 0 for 5 in the game. He did his part. Here's the handoff and the cutback. Oh, nice jitterbug move by Crosby up to the 40-yard line.
Dave, see how they're holding those blocks just another count, letting him kind of read off of them rather than just trying to overpower Appalachian State, which I don't think they can do with this offensive line. Now they're starting to use a little finesse, and it's starting to work a little bit.
Crosby looks like the type of runner who late in the game could really burn you for a big one.
See how he read that hole to the right? Actually, the hole was set up to go a little bit slightly towards the center of the field. He read it, cuts the outside, and then finally the pursuit catches up with him, led by Halbert.
There you see the update on Crosby in terms of his rushing output. We're still in the first quarter, 10-0 Appalachian. They fake it to the fullback. Hall keeps it in heavy traffic. Nice job of running as he picked up 6 yards on the play. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. And that's another first down for Furman.
Good job by Hill in this situation, because as he just tried to jitterbug his way up into the hole, nothing was there. He kind of kept looking and looking and looking. Actually shoved off on one of his guards that was blocking up the middle, got himself off to the right, got a first down. I was looking at the sideline for Furman. You thought they'd won the game over there. They finally start to work their offense well.
Only one wideout. They go with 2 tight ends, and now they're pounding the ball up the middle, and the ball carrier there is Stuart Rentz, who came to Furman as a walk-on, has earned a scholarship. and all he has is a 3.92 GPA in business and Spanish.
I had a 3.92 when I was in college.
Did you add them up?
It took me 2 years to get it, but it's... Rentz again running just exactly like Crosby did. And the beautiful part about Furman is the fact you've got these two backs. If you don't like what Crosby's doing, you come in with Rentz. Vice versa, you go the other way, and it's got to be a big plus for Hill. And it's going to end the quarter.
So it ends on an upbeat note for Furman as they have some offensive momentum driving into the Appalachian half of the field. But that's the end of one quarter here in Boone, North Carolina, with the Mountaineers of Appalachian State leading the Furman Paladins 10-0. Fraternity brothers or the tickets you left?
Well, it's no longer, we can hope that we're young, but I guess we can be young at heart, but these kids are having a ball today.
Halloween comes early here in the high country. Those folks are from South Carolina, from Furman. It's the band section. And the second quarter story is about to unfold. I'm Dave Cohn along with Sam Smith. 10-0, Appalachian State continuing to dominate the opposition in the first 15 minutes of football games. 47-0 the cumulative scoring this season. Justin Hall has Furman on the move, the fake, and as he pulled away, they had him by the ankles, and it was Rocky Hunt who brought him down. Justin Hill taken down on the first play here of the second quarter for a loss on the play.
You know, Dave, just when you think you've got the bull by the horns, wrong. Good penetration. Never had him give him even a chance to look for that pitch. I'm not so sure that was even part of that offense. Look, I don't think he ever looked back. He didn't. Till it was almost too late, and then it was too late as he gets spinned down for the loss.
Well, they say Rocky Hunt is very good against the option, and that was a pretty good indication there. Rocky Hunt from Gastonia, North Carolina. Now a little motion shown out of the shotgun. Reverse being set up. They put it in the hands of Kitchings. Where's he going? He turns the corner, and he cannot stay in bounds as he crossed the 50-yard line.
Well, that's one of those 12 times they tried to get it to him, and it was well set up, but excellent pursuit on the near side. Appalachian State saw it on film, and apparently somebody saw a key they liked.
So they gave it to Kitchings, but App State was not fooled, and they stop him.
Watch here as everything goes to the right. And, of course, that's a handoff that they had just a few moments ago. And that kind of sets it all up before they get that pitch. So you kind of draw them on the inside. Those kind of handoffs, it sets up the play, but it didn't work.
Lee Willis back to punt again. From about his own 45-yard line, he strikes the ball. And this one takes a kind of a neutral bounce. It doesn't go anywhere.
Did you notice how his players played that time? They weren't past the ball. They were waiting for it to hit in front of them that time and took that weird bounce it did a while ago.
Well, despite the fact that Furman held the football for 6 more minutes in the first quarter, it is still Appalachian State leading by a score of 10-0, and they have the ball back here in the second quarter. Jerry Moore looking for his 101st head coaching career victory. Got number 100 last week at Wake Forest. Good turnout by the Appalachian State fans over there at Wake Forest last week.
They say it's a family affair. Anytime the kids can come down and, as they say, slide the A. This is what they like to do. Little kids get over there and just have a ball.
The quarterback continues to be Daniel Jeremiah. And here's the handoff to McCall. Short side, turns the corner, runs over a group of people, and picks up some pretty good yardage on the play. He is quick to the corner.
He is indeed, and it's one of those situations where all you have to do is just hold that block just for a split second. He actually got hit pretty hard in the back. I don't think he's up now. He's on the sideline. There he is. He really got hit hard right in the end of that play, right in the middle of the back. Looks like they're going to his knee now.
Oh, that's
be bad news.
Something you don't like to see. That was his 6th carry of the game.
Let's watch this again. See how they string it out? You see both the guards pulling out in front of him. They've locked it inside. Now watch when he reaches the sideline right here. Boom. And then he gets caught from behind and just the ankle going right out from under him. And that was the big play, is slipping in to make that tackle from behind Brad Redmond. And McCall is not moving very well.
Well, he puts weight on one leg. That's not a good sign at all. That was definitely the leg that got hit from behind late.
Yep. Ben Akins has already gone to the dressing room with a concussion. Another look from that angle. He'd already turned the corner, had a good job here. Then as he tried to cut it back inside, he got it caught right from behind and just twisted it.
Well, on the sideline, as you look at the huddle, he is standing on both legs and trying to flex it, so that's encouraging. Meanwhile, Jeremiah brings him up to the line of scrimmage in the I formation. Second down and short. Don't be surprised if he keeps. And here he is running behind his fullback into the clear. He certainly has more than the first down, and Jeremiah continues and takes it up to the 45-yard line. There was no doubt in my mind that he was going to keep the ball in that short yardage situation.
You know, he was a guy that comes from El Cajon, California, was highly recruited by Division I teams. He finally ended up at Northeast Louisiana, actually won a couple of overtime games for them, so he's been under the gun. He steps in at Wake Forest, and this is what he does well. You made mention early on, Dave, and I kind of filed it away because it's exactly right. He probably runs the option better than Reeves. If it's a pure passing game, you want Reeves back there. This is what Jeremiah does. Just kind of weaving, bobbing, and getting himself in there. The only thing I would think about Jeremiah right now, he's 6'1", weighs 175 pounds. How much of that kind of beating can he take along the way?
And we'll find out how resilient he is. Man in motion now. It's Gibson and the deep handoff, and this is Chris Abril, and he runs it up to about the 49-yard line. Chris Abril, a junior college transfer from California. Let's go down to Matt Swearad on the sidelines.
Much better news for Terrence McCall and the Mountaineers. Just a mild ankle sprain. They're retaping it. He may come back here in the second quarter, but they do expect him to play definitely in the second half. Good news for the Mountaineers.
Certainly is, and you want to see all the players, you know, be able to play in this game and be at peak conditioning. But here we have another Mountaineer down momentarily. That's Cedron Hodges, the offensive lineman, the guard, walking off under his own power from Irmo, South Carolina. Senior, 300 pounds. He'll be back shortly.
He, by the way, was a wrestler in high school. Can you imagine getting a hold of that guy wrestling in high school?
That's why I never went out for that.
That's right. I hollered cap rope real quick with that guy.
Here's an offset I formation. Jeremiah showing the sprint out action. Now he wants to go deep. He's got Leatherwood out there, the tight end, and the pass is knocked down. The ball floated, and Leatherwood could not make a play in it. You usually want to get the ball on the outside on a play like that, and that ball was definitely thrown to the inside.
Well, you see that Leatherwood, who was an excellent receiver, got good hands on all Southern Conference performer of last year. Not the quickest of foot in the open field that time because he just lumbered to try to get to the ball. Ball kind of hung for a moment, though, and it gave both he and the defender back on that particular play a chance to go for it. Booth was a man back with him.
See what I mean? If he throw that toward the sideline, he's got a beat on that ball.
Because 262 pounds of Leatherman, not going to let the guy get on the outside, that's for sure.
So they tried the big play. They've been successful once before. Here's 3rd down and 7. Straight drop this time, and Jeremiah down the middle. Incomplete, not held onto by Abril. And so quickly the drive dies for Appalachian State.
One of the best defenders for Furman is that man right there, number 47, Orlando Rupp. He came into the game leading them with 53 tackles at 6'3", 262. And a senior, a lot of pro people are taking a good close look at him.
He's up in the line of scrimmage on this punt formation. He was the preseason Defensive Player of the Year pick. The punt is away. It's kind of a wobbler toward the sideline. Fielded on the run by Smerdzinski in a daring catch. With the ball heading toward the sidelines, he cut it back and gets it across his 25-yard line. Zach Smerdzinski, easy for me to say. 10-0 the score. Appalachian State in the dark uniforms leading. We'll be back with more from Boone, North Carolina right after this.
Home team's Fox attitude. You're watching Fox Sports South.
Well, some future cheerleaders getting in some early practice here at Appalachian State.
By the way, I guess the sale of black and gold goes well here in Boone, North Carolina, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's a shirt sleeve crowd at this point, but when that sun goes down, it'll get nippy in a hurry here. We're into fall. And it won't be long before those trees, the beautiful trees here, turn to magnificent shades of red, orange, gold. Furman right now being blank, 10-0. This might be a halfback pass the way it started, but Crosby is strung out and knocked out of bounds. It was a slow-forming play, and it looked to me like he was thinking about throwing it.
Gave Jamie Hall an excellent opportunity to string that down the line of scrimmage. Joey, their best defensive player with 36 tackles, even though he has the most tackles. They feel he, without a doubt, out of Athens, Georgia, is the guy that makes a lot of things happen behind it. Look how well they string this out. He's under control. He knows if he turns up, he's his. He does, and he gets him. Good play by Hall.
Almost a face mask at the end of that one, but no flag. Varian goes to the right, and Kitchings to the left. Shotgun formation here for the quarterback Hall. Inside handoff, and here comes Crosby. Takes a good hit as he goes out of bounds, but Crosby running well in this game for Furman.
Nice little decoy there with those two wide receivers, both running up routes. Linebackers, by the way, are extremely agile for this Appalachian State, and they're doing a good job of staying right at home.
It's almost the old crossbuck. Ivory cut in front of him, going right to left, and then the handoff went left to right. Crosby has led Furman in rushing each of the last 2 years and has had big games in the wins over App State the last 2 years. Now you see Hall started on the defensive end, drops back into a linebacker spot on 3rd down and 5. That could be a lateral. In any event, it's batted down.
Rocky Hunt. What a play.
Looked like that pass was thrown backwards. And Hall batted it down.
Had it not been batted down by Hunt, if that ball hits the ground, you're right, it is backwards. And it's a free ball. That's a great play with a guy that weighs 265 pounds, 6 feet, used them all, stretches out and knocks it down.
So another punt coming up for Furman now as Willis is back in the game to kick it away. That's a nice lazy spiral and a fair catch signal for. The catch is made back at the 27-yard line by Darrell Skinner. So we'll step aside again here in Boone, North Carolina. Appalachian State getting the ball back. They already have a 10-0 lead. Well, Jerry Moore has to like the way things are going. Appalachian State out to a 10-0 lead, trying to end Furman's 2-year domination in this series. Bobby Johnson, who gets a lot of respect from Jerry Moore for the work he has done at Furman, for how well his team plays, how disciplined, how few mistakes they make. But right now it's Appalachian State in the lead. Here's a quick screen intended for Skinner, and that's a forward pass incomplete.
By the way, Skinner missed that. I was looking down. McCall, by the way, is back in the game, so they've retaped that ankle. And he'll be back running out of that tailback spot. He was the only only running back there that time with Jeremiah. You know, Dave, we looked at that set. They go trips to the right, setting up some good offensive play this way. And it's interesting to go back to the soft side. Rob Best, the offensive coordinator in the booth next to us, making that call. And had it not been for a muffed catch that time by Skinner, I really don't know if they had that much room anyway on that far side. Played well by Furman.
So now they mark the ball on a 2nd down and 10. And a long count by Jeremiah. Here's the rollout action. He looks like he wants to keep. And he turns it upfield again. Boy, when he wants to keep that football, there's no doubt. He just turns it up another notch, shifts it into a higher gear.
He's got deceptive speed, too. As you pointed out, he does turn it up. That time the corner playing it very well on the outside. He turned it right inside and made a great play out of it as Booth. I thought he played it well out wide. And he just makes a good play out of it as he takes it deep again out towards the stake to move it for another first down possibly.
Jeremiah gets a free conference with his coordinator because they brought the sticks in from the far side to measure for a first down. Let's check in again with Matt.
Well, guys, you were talking about the respect that Jerry Moore of App State has for the Furman Paladins, and he talked about that this week in his press conference. He said his team had to play a mistake-free football game to come away with a win. A lot of folks were asking his opinion on whether or not they would overlook this team with Georgia Southern coming up next week, and of course that that big win last Saturday at Wake Forest. He said certainly not. Last year, remember, they lost 24-22 down in Greenville when Orlando Ruff came up with a game-saving interception on one of the final plays in that win. A game in which App State had 4 interceptions, 1 fumble, and 1 block PAT. Well, this week, Jerry Moore has these Mountaineers certainly in the right direction. As far as I can tell, there's been no mistakes.
And there is Orlando Ruff, who had that interception in the final minute a year ago. And Jerry Moore said this would be an interesting matchup between Orlando Ruff and Frank Leatherwood. This Leatherwood so far has not been much of a factor. They threw 1 pass to him on a deep pattern. Here's Jeremiah trying to sneak. Then he looked back. I don't know what he was looking back. Maybe he wanted to pitch the ball back. But in any event, it looks like they moved the pile and may have the first down. They do. There's Leatherwood. So far a factor on only 1 play in the game, but the coaches thought that the Leatherwood matchup with the middle linebacker could be interesting, could be a key.
It could be, and certainly that is set up with the receivers even on that trip, so we saw a moment ago by Appalachian State. By the way, Clark blocking on that right tackle spot, that's exactly where quarterback Jeremiah was looking to take the football that time for the first down.
Ruff on the same side of the field as Leatherwood. Here's the quick toss in the flat. Rashad Slade tried to go before he had the ball, and it falls incomplete. Can't blame the quarterback on that.
No. It's called look the ball in, and Slade's going to look at those videotapes in the so-called film room now and going to say, ooh, my. You kind of take a look, and by the way, I was just looking at the flag. The wind was rather blustery this morning, and when we arrived at the football stadium around 1:30, it was actually blowing almost from the south, and then it switched around to the north, and now you can see it's just hanging limp. What a great afternoon for football here.
Especially for the spectators. Here's the 1 back. McCall back in the game, gets the handoff, but doesn't go very far.
Terrence McCall on the carry.
He didn't have to go very far to get a first down, but I don't think, let's see, where are they going to spot it? Well, it's a short gain, bringing up 3rd down and 9. Now Kareem Young comes in the game. Slade checks out. So far, Jeremiah has made good use of the moving pocket, throwing on the run. And they'll send Gibson and Skinner out to the right. They've got a wing on the right side now. And there's that half roll again. Running room in front for Jeremiah. The 40 puts on a fake, and he's going to be brought down shy by about 4 yards. So Jeremiah and Appalachian State are stopped on that possession. So far, Jeremiah's gone all the way at quarterback. David Reeves on the sideline, dressed and obviously ready if needed.
Jeremiah had to make that decision. He looked upfield, had a couple of receivers. He's going to have to throw into some pretty good coverage. Wisely tucked it down and tried to get the first on his own.
Brian Riley now back to punt. Smerdzinski fields it at his 12, starts up the middle, takes a couple of hits, and maybe got to the 13-yard line. Zach Smerdzinski, sophomore out of Vienna, Georgia.
He, by the way, had been averaging about 17.7 on his return. And talking to the Furman broadcasters, one of the things they've done very well on their return, particularly on the punts, well, they don't go east and west. They go north and south. That's one of the things that Bobby had said, hey, let's not try to get any walls, any wedges. Let's just see what this kind of speed can do for us. That time you saw Appalachian State covered well in the center of the football field and knocked that one down for a very little gain here by Smerdzinski.
The safety's point of view as Hall off the play action fake can't spot a receiver. Now he does, and it's incomplete. He just threw that one away. Appalachian State must be doing a real good job of covering the Furman wide receivers because on a number of occasions Hall hasn't been able to spot anybody.
Well, Justin has had problems looking. He's trying to look the linebackers off. Linebackers, as you pointed out, all 3 of them can cover extremely well. And then the corners. We talked about Jackson on one side. Then you walk on the other side, and Appalachian State has had another good man, actually Brooks on one side and Tatum on the other. They both have played extremely well, Tatum in particular. And once they get matched up one-on-one, you don't have to worry about those 2 guys. So the linebacker's doing a good job, and Hill just absolutely cannot find anybody to throw to.
Tatum is on Kitchings, and Hall with a handoff to the tailback. Crosby with a couple of hesitation moves tries to get to the outside. They're waiting for him there at the 23-yard line, which will bring up a third down and fairly long. Coming up again for Furman.
Brooks is the man that mighty finally made that stop on Crosby, and again he and Rentz had a little running game going there. It started to bog down a little bit. Again, this was just exactly what they did well at the end of the first period and the start of the second. Just kind of busted to the outside, and you saw the good support coming from the strong safety Chuck Payne. By the way, had a couple of interceptions against East Tennessee State, supporting well there from the safety spot.
Earlier in the year, he was a Southern Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Here's a reverse to Kitchings. It's a fake. Now what will Hall do? Nothing. He goes down. Not only did they have the fake smelled out, but they had the sack. And again, it is Chuck Payne coming in along with Matt Halbert, and that turns into a huge loss for Furman.
I think that's called meeting at the junction there, because they were coming from opposite directions. What a great setup play, though. You fake, of course, the little reverse to Kitchens. That had worked well. And then all of a sudden, boom, Hill has no place to throw the football, and he is smothered under. Let's look at it from another way here. And again, as he goes in, and automatically you can see Hunt is even looking for the throwback to him. So he played that very well at the defensive tackle spot.
Now the punt from the goal line, high and fairly short. And a fair catch made in Furman territory by Darrell Skinner. So you really have to credit Appalachian State with a good defensive plan. They're staying at home, and twice now they've either run or faked the reverse, and App State has played it well each time.
And each time in the last 3 or 4 possessions, they've had excellent field position as well. Field position battle went early on to Furman. Now it's turned back to Appalachian State, and thus the 10-0 lead. But I keep hearkening back. Furman needs like one play to try to get themselves. It's still, it's only a 10-point game at the moment.
Each time Appalachian State has had a good defensive play, they've tried to strike quickly. Here's McCall after the pitch. Let his blocker get out in front of him, and the play bogged down, and it's virtually no gain, maybe even a loss of a yard or 2 on the play.
Brad Redmond, number 11, the man that made that tackle of McCall from behind that hurt his ankle, was the one that was out there leading the charge for Furman. Look how well they pursue as well. And McCall, it almost seemed like he's saying, okay, which way are they going to go? Uh-oh, they're not going anywhere. I got to go down. And he did. Good pursuit by Furman.
He might have been looking for them to over-pursue and then cut it back.
Yep, exactly right, Dave.
Lost 2 on the play. McCall the only setback now. They have trips to the right. And Jeremiah with a quick drop, quarterback draw, and he's got operating room up the middle. Nifty spin. That might have been by design. Takes it just shy of the 35-yard line. It'll bring up third down and a long 3.
Quarterbacks have to read so much on what the defense gives them. I talked to both the coaches, Bobby Johnson and, of course, Jerry Moore, talking about their quarterbacks. If they can change at the line of scrimmage and how many options do they have, certainly all of them have a free green light to make those changes when they see it. That one, it was just a read on what the defense was doing up the middle for Jeremiah.
Jeremiah has picked up 47 yards. He has really been a weapon today running the ball.
And that time up the middle, which is interesting. Most of the time been to the outside.
Now it's a slot to the right on third down and short. There's the late option. Can he get to the corner? First down carry if they mark it beyond the 33-yard line, and it looks like they have. Good job by Jeremiah with a late pitch to McCall.
Well, I tell you what, you'd almost want to put a straight edge on that baby to see where that pitch was, because this one was right on the money. You see the late pitch. The corners had played well. McCall turns it up. Gets banged down right there, but he got just enough by about the nose of the football. What a great play, however, by Jeremiah. Last-second decision to toss the ball.
Rocco Adrian was number 29 there. He was in no man's land. Do I play the pitch? Do I play the quarterback?
Rocco, by the way, a substitute for John Keith, one of their outstanding safeties, injured.
There's an inside handoff and good running room as Appalachian State now really exploiting the running game. And on the carry that time, it was the first carry of the afternoon for Kornheitzer.
He, by the way, gained 100 yards versus Liberty. He and Kareem Young kind of alternating at the fullback spot.
Neal with a 9-yard pickup out of Advance, North Carolina, has a younger brother, Scott, who's a redshirting, a freshman this year.
Outside of last week, by the way, he had scored in every game.
That double tight end set now would indicate a run. And there's the quarterback draw again behind the lead block of the tailback. Jeremiah let McCall cut through and then ran behind him. So they're really mixing it up. And that's going to be another first down for App State.
Again, Appalachian State just overloading one side, and they come back to the weak side as Jeremiah's reading it. Once again, watch. See how the pulling guard goes to the right? And they started blocking back. The pulling guard's there, but they also took the other running back the other way. Jeremiah goes against the grain and makes a nice gain out of this.
Different variation on the triple option. The fullback fake, and then the tailback led, and Jeremiah followed. Now the tailback McCall finds running room. Takes it down to the 15-yard line. Well, this would be if Appalachian State can get into the end zone, a commanding 17-0 lead.
Set up again by good field position, Dave, as they have really worked that to back into their work. One of my keys to the game was to control Furman's return game. They have done that and done it well today.
Well, they mark it at the 16-yard line. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 5. This is where you can really keep the defense guessing, especially with an option quarterback. They put Kareem Young, the fullback, on the wing to the left. They go trips to that direction. And Jeremiah gives it to the tailback, cutting it back. McCall, he is very close to another first down. He needs to get almost to the 10-yard line.
Well, it's apropos to call Appalachian State the weak side offense right now, because they have really worked that weak side well.
That's the only thing that's been weak this afternoon for them.
3rd and 1.
Look at that hole.
Not running badly on a bad wheel. Remember, he went down, they retaped. Just gets that blocking up front. Leading in there again is Bichette, young man out of Charleston, West Virginia, senior, 6'1", 254. All Southern Conference, started all 11 games last year, and he's starting his 5th this year.
They break the power I. Cornites are in motion. They flip it back. They got the first down, and they're inside the 10-yard line. McCall on the pitch. And right now it is all App State.
Well, as Gomer Pyle might say, surprise, surprise, surprise. They went to the strong side that time. And McCall again on that bad ankle. You can see it's flaring up. That right foot is really hurting him now.
A retape job coming up.
Yep.
He might just have to sit out here a while. Although with a sprained ankle, you might as well keep going. Once you sit out, that's when it really tightens up.
Well, the scoreboard has a great deal to do with it. You can see him running well and see where he hurts it again. Just may have got that one twisted under him. You're leading 10-0. Your ground game's going well. He's one of the reasons, though. How much more do we see him before the halftime break, or do we see him at all?
Power I, and Jeremiah looks to keep. He takes it inside the 5-yard line. O'Brill was the pitch man that time. Again, evidence of that extra gear for David Jeremiah. McCall trying to get back on the sideline and get back in the game.
Marked it at the 4-yard line, 2nd and goal.
3 minutes plus to go in the half. Appalachian State leading 10-0, looking to pad their lead.
This has not been one of the deepest spots that Appalachian State has had in running back in over the last few years.
Again, the power I formation. The motion man Kornitzer. The inside handoff. Looked like Kareem Young, number 33 on the carry. Very short gain. Well, Furman had an advantage in terms of time of possession in the first quarter, but I think things have now evened out as Appalachian State has been able to run this football effectively.
They tried to trap him up the middle that time, just handing it off to the fullback. Front line doing a good job. That time it was B.J. Pate on top, number 90. But right in behind him was Rocco Adrian, who came all the way up from the strong safety on the line of scrimmage. It helped stop that play, brings up this 3rd and goal.
Big defensive play now for Furman. The bootleg, the throw to the back of the end zone, broken up. Good coverage by Furman in the back of the end zone. They threw it in the direction of, is that Leatherwood? No, it was 87, the tight end.
Pass intended for John Overman, incomplete.
And it fell incomplete. Good coverage on the plays. That ball was floated out there.
They kind of ran out of room in the back of the end zone. Well-designed play here by Jeremiah. Tried to float that up. And again out of the back of the end zone as they just ran out of room back there. Good coverage by Furman on the backside.
John Overman, the extra tight end, was in the game, and he and Leatherwood ended up in the same area. That's why there were so many defenders. Now the field goal, virtually an extra point, and it is perfect. So Stuart Jones tacks on 3, and now Appalachian State has upped their lead to 13-0, but Pretty good play on that third down to prevent the touchdown. So Furman stays within striking distance with 2 touchdowns necessary. It's 13-0 Appalachian State.
It's always nice to have a good long snapper. Henson certainly is that. Also good to have a good holder with good hands. And Joey Gibson is the holder there for Appalachian State. Every kicker in the world say those 2 ingredients have to be there before you can do your job, and all of them were perfect there for Appalachian State. Now it becomes a problem for Furman. They were down 10-0. A touchdown gets them back very close. Now you add 3 more. Now you're looking at 2 big scores to try to get yourself back in the lead. Now the job becomes a little more difficult, and you're running out of time in the first half now to do so.
Well, Sam, it's hardcore football coming up on Fox Sports South. Ronnie Lott, Bill Moss, and Ron Pitts show you the real NFL hardcore X's and O's. Hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Hardcore for the hardcore football fan. Hardcore, Tuesday night at 8 on Fox Sports South. Jerry Moore, he plays it hardcore.
He does indeed.
His team is up 13-0 now. Furman has dominated this long series over the years. In fact, Furman, one of the only schools in the conference that Jerry Moore does not have a winning record against.
And interesting enough, they're 8-3-2 on this field here in Boone.
3-6 against Furman. There's Kitchings back, hoping to get a chance, but this ball sails 8.5 yards deep in the end zone and through. A non-returnable. And so it'll be Furman starting at their own 20-yard line following the touchback.
Interesting to see what Bobby Johnson and his core of offensive coordinators across the way have dialed in. The running game was working well. Appalachian State has now spread it out and kind of pinched it down towards the sidelines. Now do you throw again? And you never know. There might be something across the middle at Furman. I've been kind of watching the way the linebackers have been kind of supporting for any run, trying to stretch it out. The corners are playing man for man. The safeties are pinching up as well. I look for something that might work over the middle before this drive might be over. Let's see what they do out of the shotgun here, Dave.
Well, Justin Hall looking for his first completion of the game. And still looking for it. And he gets it as he completes it to Berrien right over the middle. Coach Smith, good call.
Well, it had been there just all, they've tried to flare it outside to Berrien. They tried to flare it outside to Kitchens. And all of a sudden the linebackers are pinching up on the line of scrimmage. That time they didn't drop. It was single coverage. And right across the middle comes Berrien. And Hill stayed in that pocket very nicely, thank you. And then finally Berrien taken down, but a nice gain there by Furman.
Tatum took him down. Second down and 5. Hall looking to the air to the sideline, and a step up and nearly a quick 6. Wow. Closing fast, coming up out of the secondary, L.J. Brooks. And I'll bet L.J. will tell you after the game, Hall looked at only one man and looked and forced that ball in his direction.
He did indeed. Brooks, by the way, got a couple of interceptions last year as a true freshman when he did that against Marshall. Not exactly chopped liver, folks. And he almost saw another big interception right there. Big third down here for Furman, though.
Minute 21 to go in the half. Hall with a short drop out of the shotgun. Now throws it the other way. He's got a receiver out there in some operating room. Here's the catch and run out of bounds is Tyrone Berrien up to the 45-yard line. So he makes the catch, gets the first down, stops the clock with 71 seconds to go in the half. In real good field position now and time for Furman to get a late score.
That was a major league catch. As the receiver that time, Burton was out looking directly right back into the sun. Watches Hill, steps up in the pocket, delivers. That sun's right in Burton's eyes. He turns and it heads upfield and cuts to the outside, and taking it upfield he goes.
Now 4 wide receivers as Hill operates out of the shotgun. Hill getting time, zips it down the middle. There's a juggling catch by Kitchings. Inside the 40-yard line at the 37. Clock will stop as they move the chains up. 8 seconds ticking off on that completion. Kitchings rising to the occasion now.
Good pressure again as Hill delivers. Kitchens made a wonderful catch. That ball was completely behind him. Had to make the 360 turn. And made another good catch. Again, they've gone to the outside. Now they come back to the middle to make completions.
Quentin Burton has come into the game. He's in the backfield lined up next to Hill. He stays in the pass block this time. Here comes Hill with a scramble to the 30, to the 20, to the 15. He's going to score. He dives to the pylon. Did he get over? Touchdown. Wow, what a run by Justin Hill. And Furman with a late score has dramatically changed the complexion of this game in the final minute of play in the first half. A tremendous scramble by Justin Hill, and what a dive right for the pylon.
Well, this was one of those plays that you were kind of looking to see who was going to be open left or right. We'll get a replay it after the extra point is concerned, but you'll see that time Appalachian State overplayed it one way. Hill saw the opening to the right, and before Appalachian State could recover, it's 6 points on the board for Furman, and they are indeed back in the game a bit.
A 41-yard run, equaling his longest of the year. Now the try for the extra point, and it is good. Put through there by Jason Wells, and now we have a 13-7 game. And you go back to that last Appalachian State possession when they couldn't get it in the end zone, so they settled for the field goal. And look at the equalizer here.
Hill is looking that way, looking to the right. You saw the safety that time reacting a little late on that side, and again, that was Tatum, who normally is very much on the ball. He was looking for something in the middle again, and Hill made him pay as he just ran it to the outside. And what a great effort around the 5 to dive that one home for Furman.
I thought Tatum would unload on him. Instead, he got caught, grasping air.
I guess we got to give Hill a little credit for having some pretty good foot speed himself, because Tatum is no slouch when they get him in the open field.
And what a move. So Bobby Johnson's team scores late and really changes the attitude going into the locker room, down 13-7. Could have been down 17-0.
This will be an interesting series here, even though it's going to be very short in duration. Furman, all they've got to do is just make a couple of quick sticks. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to get the football. You just have to say, okay, we're back in the game. This is what we're going to do in the second half. So now it's there. Appalachian State has to come out, kind of bow their neck. They've got to make a stick or two here.
So things looking up now for Bobby Johnson and the Furman Paladins. Remember, both teams undefeated in the Southern Conference, each with designs on the conference title and beyond into the Division I AA playoffs. In only a minute and 17 seconds, they went 80 yards in 5 plays, and they got some pass completions, their first of the game. Here's the squib kickoff, and it'll be taken and down in the end zone, so no time off the clock. 40 seconds to go as App State will get the ball at their own 20-yard line.
Appalachian State will be coming out as all of the coaches for App State, along with the coaches down at the far end for Furman, all head to their respective locker rooms as they've got some discussions going on. Appalachian State, again, Dave, you saw them jump out to the lead. Don't think they're going to be overly aggressive on this particular series of downs right now.
That could be take a knee time. Jeremiah, the quarterback, has done very well in this starting effort. There is the knee. I don't know if Furman has a timeout to take, and if they would use it. Clock continues to run. 28 seconds to go. Furman has 2 timeouts left.
They do.
But apparently they won't bother. And it isn't even necessary for App State to run another play. So both teams now heading toward the locker rooms. It was a one-sided first half until the final minute when Furman got on the board thanks to Justin Hill. And as we head toward halftime, Appalachian State has a 13-7 lead on Furman.
Nice turn of events for Furman, of course, to get themselves those 6 points, Dave. And you're down 13-0. You could be a little down. Matt Suarez downstairs with Coach Bobby Johnson.
Coach, big momentum builder going into the halftime with a touchdown.
Yeah, it surely helped. We weren't doing very much on offense. We weren't very consistent. We had some good plays, but couldn't put anything together. They were playing great on defense, and I was glad to get that one in the end zone.
Big plays by Orlando Ruff again, helping you defensively.
Well, we're hanging on. We lost another linebacker to injury, so we're just hanging on defensively, and I'm proud of where our guys are holding in there. We held them to 2 field goals when it would have been pretty tough if they had got 2 touchdowns in then.
All these games with Appalachian State seem to go right down to the wire, don't they?
They do. It's a great rivalry, and we enjoy playing up here, and they're a great opponent.
Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back upstairs to Dave and Sam.
All right, Matt. So there are the words of Bobby Johnson, who has to deliver a somewhat different speech going into the locker room. 13-7, Appalachian leading. We'll be back with halftime after this.
Welcome back to Kidd Brewer Stadium here in Boone, North Carolina, our Southern Conference football game of the week, and it's been just what we thought it would be. A terrific ball game at the break. It is Appalachian State 13 and Furman 7 on a late touchdown. Well, joining me now is the athletic director here at Appalachian State, Roger Laney, and you couldn't ask for a better day for football, could you?
Oh, it's a Chamber of Commerce day. Beautiful blue sky, a good crowd out, and a wonderful football game.
Well, one of the special things I know you've come together with some folks here in Boone with is a youth identification kit, and tell us what's going on and helping out tracking down kids.
Well, it's a wonderful project that's sponsored by the American Football Coaches Association. When parents leave the game today, they'll be given a self-contained envelope that will have an inkless fingerprint system. They take it home, they fingerprint their children, put in pictures, all types of information. In case there's an emergency, they can go to a place that they've stored it, take it to the authorities, and it can help in what might be an emergency situation. And we're just delighted. We gave every school-age child in the county a ticket to come to the game, so it's our way of doing service in the community.
And as you can tell, a great turnout for fans here today, and it has been a tremendous football game. And last week, Jerry Moore got his 100th win. That has to be special for the school as well.
Oh, very much so. You know, Jerry does a tremendous job with his staff. Rob Best, an assistant's been with Jerry for 17 years, 100 victories for a football coach. That's quite an accomplishment.
It really is. And also, you got this week coming up, basketball starting, and one person that I was so happy to see stay here in Boone is Buzz Peterson. I know you have to be ecstatic about it. He almost went to the NBA and the Chicago Bulls. How'd you keep him here?
Well, Buzz loves this institution. He's dedicated to our student athletes. The opportunity was just not what he was looking for at this time of his career. Buzz will have opportunities in the future. We're just delighted he's still with us. Look forward to a tremendous basketball season.
Getting back to football, this team's off to a 4-0 start. You did beat Wake Forest last year, and I know last week, and there's talk that the series may not continue. I know you'd like to continue it, wouldn't you?
Oh, very much so. When we have an opportunity to play a 1A school, our alumni love that competition. We've been very successful against Wake Forest. You know, unfortunately, of the NCAA rule, of the 6-win rule, that in order to go to a bowl game, that's the problem. So Wake Forest is looking in the interest of their program. We understand that. We still want to play them, though.
Last year going 7-4, having a couple of disappointing losses. One was to this Furman club down there, and one, of course, the last game of the year against Liberty left you out of the 1AA playoffs. But right now, 4-0, you guys are looking pretty good.
Very much so, and we understand the national rankings, the importance of playoff, and that's why the victory at Wake Forest was so large for us. That gives us another win. You can't make it to the playoffs unless you have 2 or less losses. So we understand that, and we hope we can have a very successful season.
Well, thanks for talking with us, and good luck in the second half.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate all the support of Fox Sports South.
Roger Laney, the athletic director at Appalachian State, our guest. We're coming back with more halftime in Boone in a moment.
And we welcome you back to the high country here in Boone, North Carolina on Fox Sports South. I'm Dave Cohen along with Sam Smith. It is a 13-7 game. Appalachian State leading Furman. And Sam, this has been a game that has not been dominated by the officials, certainly not by turnovers. Both teams are able to do what they want to do. And I guess playmaking will decide it ultimately if things remain the way they are.
It's been a very good cat and mouse game, I thought. And the fact that Appalachian State wanted to balance their offense, it's a little unbalanced in the fact that they have more rushing yards than passing yards. Other side of the coin, Furman wanted to run the ball much better. They've only got slightly over 100 yards rushing right now, so they've had a very difficult time setting up the pass. You and I were both talking, had the catch by Ketchins been in the first period, this could be a much different football game. He dropped a touchdown, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but Furman's doing some good things. They're down in this game, but certainly not out. Appalachian State, I think, has done pretty much what they wanted to do in the first half.
And the quarterbacks are really turning out to be pivotal in this game. Jeremiah doing a terrific job of running the option, and then Justin Hill with that tremendous scramble, a 39-yard touchdown run late in the half that truly changed the complexion of the game.
Not to take anything away from Hill, but Jeremiah has just been a pleasure to watch. He does so many things. He rolls out. He throws across his body very well. He can tuck it and run. He throws it on a string. He throws pretty well. And it's been very, very much an exciting part to watch how he has kind of blended this whole offense together. Still not what Jerry Moore wants to do, but we'll probably see that in the second half.
And a couple of field goals, the difference in this game now. for Appalachian State. That has accounted for their 6-point advantage here at halftime. And weather conditions are fine. That should not be a factor in the second half when the throwing game might become more of a factor.
It may be. In another area that certainly Appalachian State wanted to do was to control the kick return game of Furman. They've done a reasonably good job of that. They have about 11 or 12-yard average on the punt and about 13 on the kickoff return, but they've done a good job there.
That brings us to the Reebok halftime stats, and here's the way they look. Well, the rushing yardage impressive for both teams. The passing yardage fairly equal.
And the time of possession, you may recall, you made mention that Furman had actually dominated the time of possession early on. Furman, of course, kind of relinquished that a little bit in the second period. Then, boom, they come up. They didn't take a lot of time in scoring that last one by Hill, but still had the possession time. And to me, even trailing with a score that they have on the board right now, that's a good sign that their club is doing a lot of things of holding them to the ball. Let's face it, when Appalachian State doesn't have the ball, they can't do anything with it.
There have been some good defensive plays in this game, but that first touchdown pass that kind of floated in the air, Skinner made a terrific catch to get Appalachian State on the scoreboard early.
Actually, pretty good coverage by Furman. They read it well. They had 3 receivers in that area. It was just a jump ball, and they go up with a jump ball. They get the 6 points. That kind of set the tone. Then the 2 field goals, and now it's a pretty good football game headed for the second half.
And Appalachian State has taken away a couple of reverses and fake reverses. So that's the story to this point in the game at the half. We'll be back with more from Boone, North Carolina in a 13-10 game.
Welcome back to Boone Kid Brewer Stadium. We're at halftime, our Southern Conference football game of the week, and at the break, App State leads Furman 13-7. Matt Swarad back with you here at halftime with a couple of special guests. First, the Chancellor here at Appalachian State University, Dr. Frank Burkowski, and it's always a pleasure, Dr. Burkowski, to chat with you. And every time I come up here, I live about 45 miles down the mountain. I come up, there's a new building. You have so many new, exciting buildings and projects going on up here. Talk about some of them.
Well, Matt, I'll tell you, it's a matter of catch-up. We didn't have it for a long period of time, and now we've had a good streak here. So we're about midway through $130 million in construction, and that's an exciting time for us. We have a new baseball field. We've got a new convocation center going up, a new science building. It's really an exciting period for us.
Out to here in that convocation center, which will be the home for the basketball and the volleyball. Then maybe North Carolina might come up to open that place. And Buzz Peterson, of course, back here coaching.
Oh, that would be great. We're working at it. It'll seat 9,000.
One of the things that we always talk about with college athletics, you know, what they do on the field as athletes, but in the classroom, they're also excelling here at App State, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I'm really proud of the athletes here. We were second in the 16 campus system in terms of retention rates and graduation rates. We just have been attracting a really good quality athlete.
Well, Dr. Burkowski, enjoyed the second half again. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Matt. It's good being with you.
Now joining me is the new commissioner of the Southern Conference, Alfred White. And Alfred, you come up here. You took over in April. Wright Waters was the old commissioner here, did a fantastic job getting the conference going in the new direction that it has gone into. And talk about the new challenge that you have coming from the NCAA.
Well, the Southern Conference is one of the best conferences in the country. I realized that when I was interviewing for the job, and all of the years that I worked at the NCAA, I'm really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with all of the fine institutions and coaches and student athletes and administrators of the Southern Conference. One of the biggest challenges we'll have is putting together a strategic plan for the conference, both in the near future and in the further down the road. The new millennium is only two years away, and we need to be ready to take control of our own destiny.
Well, the 1AA Football National Championship again is in the Southern Conference. It's back at Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was a success last year, and they're back this year. And talk about that a bit.
Well, we are fortunate to have 3 teams in the top 20 at this point, and we hope that we can get 3 teams in the NCAA Division 1AA Football Championship, and hopefully one of them can go there and represent the conference in that national championship over in Chattanooga. We feel like we can take a pretty good crowd of fans over there if that's possible.
Now, 2 of the schools that certainly have a very good shot at getting back to the 1AA playoffs that were left looking from the outside last year are these 2 schools, Furman and Appalachian State. And always you'll love to see when a 1AA conference can go into a 1A backyard and get a big win like App State did last week at Wake Forest.
Well, we're really proud of Appalachian State and Furman. One of the tough things about the Southern Conference is how our teams are so susceptible to beating up on each other. Pretty hard to get more than 2 or 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. If you got 4 losses, that really rules you out. So if we can figure out a way that we can get a couple of teams or 3 teams into the tournament, that'd really be good.
Our Fox Sports South cameras will be coming back in next month, the 22nd of November, to the volleyball championship here.
Yeah, we're really excited about the volleyball championship being here at Boone, North Carolina on the campus of Appalachian State. We're doing some exciting things to market and promote that event, and hopefully we can put on a good show for our female student athletes.
Alfred White's been our guest, the new commissioner of the Southern Conference, and we're at halftime, our Southern Conference game of the week, with Appalachian State leading by a score of 13-7. Welcome back here at halftime. Just about get going here in the second half. I'm with the coach of the Mountaineers, Jerry Moore. Coach, a very good first half of your defense.
Well, it was, except for the last drive. You know, we played pretty solid up to that point. We just got to come back out, take up where we left off, but the momentum that we had and playing with the intensity that we had, and be a physical football team.
Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Let's go upstairs for the second half. Dave Cohen and Sam Smith.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. And that game, as we have said repeatedly, changed dramatically in the final moments when Justin Hill freelanced his way 39 yards in for the touchdown. Up until that point, Appalachian State had been in the driver's seat. Let's look at some of the highlights, Sam.
Well, defense for Appalachian State early on was stuffing Furman, not getting them any opportunity to get anything going on the board. Thus, that defense giving them good field position. And a guy by the name of Jeremiah took over as he led them to the promised land. But watch this catch by Darrell Skinner on the goal line. This is 36 yards. Jump ball won by Appalachian State. And they take the lead on that one with the extra point. But then just before the halftime break, Justin Hill says, uh-oh, nothing to throw to. A lot of green, and here he comes. Watch the move he makes right here at about the 5-yard line as he dives towards the goal line, breaks the plane, and that's a big 6 points for Furman as they battle back to a 13-7 deficit.
That was Justin Hill, just in case I can't find anybody. I'm going to take off. And that time, he took it the distance. So we have ourselves a 13-7 game. Appalachian State has the lead. They'll be getting the ball here to begin the second half. And as you look at Skinner back there, Darrell Skinner, number 1, set to return the kickoff. He is leading the Southern Conference in kickoff returns. However, it has been 197 games all the way back to the Furman game in 1981 since Appalachian State has returned a kickoff for a score. Will it happen today?
Let's see if they follow script here.
Don't think so. Whoa, he's coming out of the end zone after a 360. He's got 15, he's got 20, still on his feet and across the 30-yard line. Well, not on that one, but we still have 30 minutes more to play.
Well, 69 yards short. Not bad, huh?
So Appalachian State will get the football back to begin the second half, and no doubt we'll get a look at the starting quarterback, Daniel Jeremiah, coming back in. He had an outstanding first half, rushing for 56 yards, throwing for 49 more.
I was interested to see if McCall came out. He does not answer the bell. They're leading a rusher with 6 in the first half. That bad ankle is going to keep him out, it appears.
In the shadows, Jeremiah in the handoff to Abril, fighting his way to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. If indeed he did get back, might be a loss of about a half yard on the play. So Furman starts out with a good defensive play to begin the second half. And Abril, well, he's not limping, but not exactly speedy getting back to the huddle either.
You know, Dave, we talked about the injuries that Furman's had all year long on to defense in particular. They lost another one of their starters early on in the game. Colin Rogers, who had 25 tackles, was playing the outside linebacker, went down with a leg injury. So that technically is basically their 10th starter they have lost this year. 6 to graduation, and now they've lost another 4 by the injury bug here.
One big loss, John Keith, who did not even make the trip. So we hope John and other injured Paladins are watching and enjoying it. A lot of time for Jeremiah. Slings it over the middle. And the ball is incomplete, intended on a little drag to Abril.
Well, the receiver intended was Leatherwood. I'll tell you what, he had it for a moment. I was really looking to see how close the officials would call this if that was going to be a fumble. They ruled right on top of he didn't have possession, but he took a smack when he got a hold of that football. Let's take a look at it again. As you said, just a drag right over the middle. And guess who hits him? Boughton is one that hits him, and from the other side they get a cornerback, and that's Roberson.
So still without a catch in the game as you look in at Orlando Ruff. Ruff is ready. And here he comes on a blitz. They throw it into the vacated area, and a nice catch made by Gibson. That was a good read by the quarterback. He saw the blitz coming and threw it into the vacated spot.
And he throws it right at one of their better intercept people in Richie Jackson, a young redshirt freshman. But Gibson had a step on him, just turns it inside, and the money pass was right on the money. And the fact it's thrown right on the inside, and when that's got to happen at the split second, that's a very good throw. Good catch and run by Gibson.
Jeremiah gets him out of the hole. It's a 1st and 10 now for Appalachian State, just inside their own 45-yard line. Now they're in the sun, and the handoff to Abril, the tailback, fights his way to the middle of the pack, and B.J. Payton company knock him down.
Appalachian State has had to stay with Clark sliding over to that right tackle spot, and Billy Young, number 79, playing left tackle. Hodges, Williams, and Baquette stay in as their interior down linemen. But some injuries have plagued them on the front, but Sean Clark, the All-American, number 61, has easily moved over to the other side and giving Billy Young a chance to play on the left.
Slade and Gibson come in. Daniel Jeremiah, 4 of 11 in the passing department. It has been a turnover-free game to this point by both teams. And there's one of the rare penalties. A flag is down. It's a free play, and the ball is thrown out of bounds. We've had only 2 penalties in the game up until now. This one will obviously go against the defense.
And also with a caliber game, we have no turnovers in the game too, Dave. We were talking about that at halftime with the emotions running as they have in this game.
And that's really surprising when you have 2 option teams when the ball is pitched. Well, let's hear the penalty coming up. It's offsides.
Offsides on the defense. Replay 2nd down.
3 wides come out of the game. Slade, Skinner, and Gibson. 3 little wide receivers. That'll bring in double tight ends. It looks like a power running formation. And they do give it to the tailback, Abril, and he busted into the secondary. Boughton, the freshman linebacker, brought him down.
You know, one of the things that Appalachian State is doing well, as I made mention in the first half, running to the weak side. What that's doing, it's taking the strong side linebacker, that of course is Orlando Ruff, almost out of the play. They're taking him to the strong side, they're running back to the weak side and trying to take him out, and that's a good guy to take out, that's for sure, as Ruff has had problems, other than a couple of plays early on in the first half, getting back to the football.
Manuel and Gibson out to the right. There they are slotted. Jeremiah hands it off again to Abril, running off the right side of the line. And he'll take it inside the 40-yard line. It's going to bring up a 3rd down. Let's check that. A 2nd down coming up.
2nd down and 6.
2nd down and 6, they call it.
So Dave, you were talking about the back problems that Sean Clark has had. He got a medical red shirt last year because of the back injury and has really kind of got him full circle to getting himself back in shape again, but has done a great job in doing so with the Mountaineers.
The one-back look, and the one-back gets it, Abril. He had a long running start, but he was taken down virtually at the line of scrimmage. Abril now with 6 carries in the game. 16 yards. Now we'll have a 3rd down, and this will be a long 4 yards. Just inside the right hash mark. Will Boughton, number 20. Big interception a week ago. Here's the half roll. Jeremiah with time, tucks it in. Jeremiah runs for the 1st down, and he got it. He has that instinct, that knack of knowing where the marker is and when to turn it upfield.
Been some excellent coverage that time by Rocco Adrian out on Skinner. That was the man definitely that Jeremiah was looking for. But he was well covered on the near sideline. He tucks and runs again. And a pure weapon here for Appalachian State when you got a quarterback that can do what he has done today against Furman and their defense.
Stay in it now, stay in it.
Jason Blackman has come into the game. He's a wideout. They have 3 wideouts. 1 running back behind Jeremiah. Quick toss in the flat. The catch is made by Skinner. Nice breakaway move for additional yardage. Skinner yakking it up, getting yards after the catch.
You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they came with that play a moment ago. It broke down. Jeremiah bailed him out with a good run. This time they seal the backside. Then they come to the near side. It's one-on-one coverage out here. And as Skinner slips one tackle, he's able to move on, as that time Rodney Johnson, number 32, couldn't ramp him up, and he gains another 6 or 7 yards.
It took in total 4 men to finally bring him down. First down and 10 from the 20. Jeremiah on the deep handoff. Look at the line surge on the right side. Abril carrying it down close to the 10-yard line. That time the line really kicked out for Abril.
Right guard Tony Bequette, along with again Sean Clark, opening up that hole. Abril, who actually has been kind of, he's had his ups and downs. He played well versus the Citadel, played a little more against Wake Forest last week. McCall, of course, came in, got 60 yards rushing here in the first half before he got his injury. Now Abril's getting his opportunity again.
Brill had a pair of fumbles in the Citadel game that set him back. Here he is getting the call again, trying to find his hole. They need to get to about the 10-yard line, just across the 10 for another first down. He's going to be shy.
Well, Furman has tried very well to block and stay in their tackling zones. They've done a good job of kind of stacking up. Appalachian State has tried the weak side. You see, of course, they just pull to the left, try to run it that way, and you can see right in the middle, that's Spencer. As he's all of it, Ryan Spencer, 6'3", 290. From Clover, South Carolina, redshirt freshman, stacked that play up.
On 3rd and 1, they break the power formation. They toss it back. Abril cutting it back. Abril spinning for the first down and taking it in the vicinity of the 5-yard line.
Abril this time was just looking right on the tail end that time of Kareem Young. Young is one of their better blocking fullbacks. He's number 33 leading the play. Watch as he's out in front. Abril's reading him. Boom, right there. Bolton, however, comes up, can't make the tackle, and that's a great run by Abril behind a good block by Young.
Now you have the added dimension of Jeremiah being an excellent running quarterback here in the red zone. Jeremiah on the give. Straight ahead, they pile drive it forward. Neil Kornheitzer on one of his rare carries this afternoon. And Appalachian State knocking on the door.
But exactly what a coach would like to do. That's to get the opening kickoff, take it the length of the field, get some kind of points on the board, which they appear they're going to get, if not a touchdown, a field goal. Exactly what you want to do to start the half.
And Sam, they have eaten up half of this third quarter on this drive.
So much of that possession clock, huh?
Jeremiah hands it off, touchdown, Appalachian State. It is Kornheitzer getting into the end zone. And the Mountaineers go up by a score of 19-7 with the point after pending. Well, Kornheitzer gets it into the end zone again, his 5th rushing touchdown of the season.
Nothing fancy about that drive. Of course, all set up by the great scrambling ability of Jeremiah. Bobby Johnson was very cognizant of that. He said, I'd almost really rather play against Reeves because I know he's going to drop back and stay in the pocket. Jeremiah scares the heck out of me, and you can see why as his club now trails in this game to Appalachian State. They're going for 2.
Yeah, with a score 19-7, strategy dictates go for 2. The roll by Jeremiah. Will he run it? He throws it, and it's incomplete. Receiver had actually come out of the end zone had he caught it. I don't believe he would have been able to get back in. So the try fails, and the score remains 19-7. We're in Boone, North Carolina on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Hope you're enjoying it. Appalachian State on top, 19-7. Appalachian State taking the second half kickoff, marching it down the field for a score. And here it is, Sam.
It's just good hard-nosed football. You attack the point of the block. You get right up on the right side and just take it right towards the end zone. That time Furman knocked off the line of scrimmage. By the way, on the 2 points, as you see the numbers on the drive a moment ago, 2-point play Leatherwood, the tight end, was a man. Great job there. Mike Schmidt, number 42 for Furman. They were almost in hand-to-hand combat in the back of the end zone. And Leatherwood could never get loose. He tried to force it to the corner, incomplete, and they have to settle for nothing on the extra point.
Well, Jerry Moore has to really appreciate the way his team answered back after Furman got the late score at the end of the first half. Here's the kickoff. Another tough one that Kitchings watches sail over his head, so it's non-returnable once again. What a weapon that is when your kickoff man knocks it out of the end zone repeatedly.
And your offense uses up over half the period in getting a score on the board as they did in that quarter.
Everything went right on that one. And it's a 19-7 Mountaineer lead.
Jerry Moore said if he got asked one more time if his team would look by Furman to Georgia Southern, he said he was going to smack them. And apparently his club has not done so. They have really concentrated on trying to do the best against Furman today.
I'm glad I didn't ask him.
That's right.
Justin Hill, now the quarterback. Well, he's been the quarterback all game. And as that play gets underway, we have a whistle. And it must have been something the offense did wrong.
Actually, only the third penalty we had. Remember the holding penalty back on a kick early? And on another one in this period, and now this one.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. Replay first down.
First down and 15 for Furman as they start back at their 15-yard line.
Somebody asked me one time, why don't they identify those that had the procedure penalty in college? I says, because they don't have six-figure contracts either. You can do that when they're the pros. I agree with that.
And here's the handoff. Crosby jitterbugging, gets it out to the 16-yard line. Of course, though, you could make the argument in basketball. They tell you who fouled.
Well, that's true. You got a point there, yes. A little hard to hide out there with 10 guys.
Sometimes, though, they could be even more specific without IDing somebody. Tell you exactly what the false start was. Did somebody move the ball? Did somebody line up in the wrong spot?
Good pursuit along that line of scrimmage again. The Azle again, the linebacker who has had all kinds of back problems, a couple of back surgery, even stands during class. Can't sit down, the back gives him so much trouble.
Hall with the option look and the option keep, and Hall into the secondary, and good run by Justin Hall, but because of the earlier penalty, he's going to be shy of the first down. That was a gutsy little run by Justin Hall.
Yes, it was. He was looking for the pitch on the outside. Look as he's turning out. He's looking for the pitch, but Appalachian State closes it down very quickly. He knows that's not an option. As you see him outside, and he'll just ducks it in and gains good yardage on the play, but that 5-yard step off on him really puts him in a tough situation with his third down, about 3.5 needed here.
Derek Russell provided a good lead block. Russell is the blocking fullback now in front of Ernest Crosby on third down and 3. Same looking play, same carry, and it's going to be very, very close. This might need a measurement.
Really close indeed. Linebackers again closing on it, and just a decision made by Hill as he turns it inside.
No measurement needed. It is a first down.
Those of the football had to get outside the 30, and it's clearly outside the 30 by about a football length. So maybe Furman has got this same kind of drive in their mind. Of course, they have to play catch-up, but it's kind of like, okay, you can do it, we've got to do it as well, and here they come.
Furman now marching into the shadow portion of the field. They're entirely in shadow, so nothing too difficult for wide receivers looking back on a pass. Down by 12, the Furman Paladins with a first down. And a nice play-action fake and a pass into the flat. Good reception and yardage out across the 40-yard line. The tight end, Michael Owings, making his first catch of the afternoon. The man from 96, North Carolina.
No, I don't know why it's called 96. 6'3", 241 pounds. Again, as you pointed out, had only one catch coming to the game today. Actually, it dropped one early on, and unfortunately a flag is down for Furman.
Well, let me ask you this, Sam. Don't you think they ought to change the name to 99 North Carolina for next year?
Well, I like it.
You could have a whole tourist industry just based on 99.
And you get all the new literature.
That's
and everything, right?
You know, sell sweatshirts and T-shirts. Hey, I visited 99 North Carolina.
That's right. Unfortunately, a holding penalty coming up against Furman here.
Ooh, that's a big penalty.
Oh.
Holding on the offense. Replay first down.
Can it's happen when you're a running club? You try to all of a sudden come up with a little play action pass, running the tight end out of the slot on the left-hand side. Somebody just reaches up, grabs, tries to contain, and that's what you get.
Ball lines up in the shotgun. They're pointing out some defensive assignments. A couple of linebackers have moved into the gaps. Now they release. off of a real spread formation. Hall guns it over the middle. That's dangerous. And the ricochet is taken down by Kitchings. In a turnover-free game, you could just sense that ball would be up for grabs, but fortunately Kitchings was the backup.
And Berrien, I guess, gets an assist on it. He was the one that got his hands on it. I want to tell you, though, Chuck Payne lowered the boom on him right there. Boom! Great concentration by Kitchings. That's a very, very much needed yardage situation for Furman. Again, back in the pocket. Hill knew he was going to get hit. Berrien did, and Kitchings comes back to make the catch. That is staying in the game right there.
3 wideouts and the shotgun set again. Linebackers creeping up, but they're not coming. All his time, steps up, guns it down the middle, and that middle has been open now since late in the first half. And Kitchings again with a catch. They'll move the chains. It's a Furman first down.
That's a positive. They had 1st and 25, Dave, at one time after the 15-yard holding penalty after the great catch by Owens. Now they come back and get this. Over the middle has been open. Linebackers again coming up to support on the run. Now that they're starting to throw a little bit, you may see even one of the linebackers coming off, a nickelback coming in a little more frequently, or the linebackers dropping well off the line of scrimmage to drop into coverage.
On 1st and 10, this time back in the T formation. The handoff to Crosby, trying to fight his way. The yardage not coming as freely now as it did in the first part of the game for Ernest Crosby. Crosby had 49 yards in the first half, most of those in the first quarter.
Terry Moore was, when I talked to him this week, talking about his linebackers, he went all the way through everybody. I said, I think we missed a linebacker, and he said, oh yeah, I was saving the best for last. Joe Best, center linebacker out of New Bern, North Carolina. He's another one of those that came in with 29 tackles, number 43, and was a walk-on campus, and that's been one of the real strong points for both Appalachian State and Furman. They had great walk-on prospects.
Off the play-action fake, running room for Hill to the near side. He's going to take off, cross the 50, and he gets out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Well, Jerry Moore was an assistant in Nebraska way back when, and that's a school that year in, year out has dozens of walk-ons. They have people who accept walk-on status in Nebraska rather than a scholarship elsewhere, and in the long run it works out because they don't have to pay their travel costs. So that is carrying on here, the tradition of walk-ons.
And Furman, of course, has their fair share. This is a run-on here by Hill. That, by the way, is the outside defensive linebacker, Freeman. Jimmy Freeman at 5'11", 226, caught him from behind. That's very good execution by the young man out of Crest High School in Shelby, North Carolina. Number 40 catching Hill from behind.
Justin Hill's scrambling ability has picked up another Furman first down. Little confusion now in the offense, and whenever you see that, you know the timeout signal should follow, and it has. Good job by Justin Hill. And the whole team will walk to the sidelines to confer with their respective coaches. Timeout in Boone, North Carolina. It's 19-7, Appalachian State in the lead. Appalachian State led 13-7 at the half. They scored on their first possession of the second half, missed the two-point try. Now Furman trying to answer back. Furman has a 1st and 10. They're at the App 45-yard line. Dave Cohen along with Sam Smith and Matt Swearat here in Boone, North Carolina. The reverse being set up, nothing doing for the 3rd time in the game. Appalachian State has diagnosed the reverse or some kind of fake off the reverse, and Hill is thrown for a big loss.
Jimmy Freeman, who had chased him down from behind on the run a moment ago, was actually just cut loose on the left side. As Hill turned around after making that fake, you can see nobody's on Freeman, and he comes down with a big sack, and there's another devastating play for Furman. Another look at it from a different angle, and you can see how quickly he got inside of Hill. He turned, and all he could see was Freeman all over him.
They're getting a quick read on those reverses, and so far they're 0 for 3 on them. Here's Hill out of the shotgun with time. Now the pocket collapses, and so does he. Sacked back at his own 40-yard line. That's going to be another loss, and bring up a 3rd down and 25 situation.
When he went back to the line of scrimmage for Appalachian State, Freeman was having such a good time. Hunt says, let me join the game, and there he comes in. He's the first to hit it, Freeman second. Then they got help from their friends as Albert says, I'll just try to finish it off. It's already done.
4-man rush coming now on 3rd down and 25. Now they bring one of the defensive backs up. Chuck Payne. He's not coming. Hill steps away. Hill is going to run, and Hill is going to be brought down at the 47-yard line. So the drive, which looked so promising, suffered a couple of big losses, starting with the reverse, and now Furman's forced to punt it away.
Hill, of course, because of not of a lack of ability and the fact that he is not Jeremiah, we're not going to put him in that same category. One of the things that could have negated what was going on to him there was the sprint out, but he was not able to do so. You saw they even chased him down from behind, but the passing lanes and good coverage from back deep paid dividends for Appalachian State.
The punt is away from Lee Willis. Skinner fields it, backing up at his 12. Getting away, he might have an avenue on the sideline. Picking up blockers, still on his feet at the 35. Cutting it back to the middle, and he's dragged down from behind. A saving tackle made by Shelvis Smith, the backup safety. Otherwise, that would have been a long punt return touchdown. So we've got an official time with 39 seconds to go in the third quarter. Appalachian State leads it 19-7. Well, we nearly saw a punt return all the way for a touchdown. And here it is.
Well, again, Skinner gets it. It was actually set up towards the center of the football field after he looked like a pinball machine going on, bobbing and weaving and getting loose. Smith is the only guy that had a chance to catch him from behind, and that's a nice play. That save, 6 for Furman there. And he got that one last block. There was nothing but green ahead of Appalachian State and Skinner for possibly his second TD of the day.
How many times did he change direction on that punt return? So now Daniel Jeremiah has gone all the way at quarterback. Starts out at his own 47-yard line with I-backs. A fake to a Brill. The rollout to the near side. Nicely executed play. And Leatherwood comes up with the catch at the 41-yard line. You cannot execute that play any better than App State just did.
We have been trying to make Leatherwood the real star of this game. We talked about him on the pregame show. They said they had to get the ball to him. This is one of the first opportunities. Really had to get it outside of the one that he dropped a few minutes ago and also got hit pretty hard. That was well executed. They trips to the far side, just opened it up, and Leatherwood ran the little cut and out and makes a good catch.
Leatherwood, the tight end right, with 4 wide receivers, nobody in the backfield. Oh, nearly intercepted on the flat by Orlando Ruff. Ruff, who had the big interception last week against Western Carolina, nearly had one, and he had clear sailing on that because there was nobody behind Jeremiah.
Corners had played very well. Ruff just kind of playing his center position there, and as he dove, almost came up with the interception. A little disappointed, but that would have been a Herculean effort, as Slade was the intended receiver, and Jackson was the corner covering out on him.
Now Jeremiah rolling the other way, looking like he wants to keep. He did fake the late pitch, and he took it inside the 35-yard line. You can tell when he shifts it up one more gear on those option plays.
Getting up a little slowly. Remember, I told you he's only 175 pounds. You keep taking that beating that he does. And it looks like he may have injured or at least hurt his left wrist here. Let's take a look at it. This will be a great angle. He'll be coming right at you here. You see that Young out in front of him. He gets the block on Rupp. Detains him momentarily, still looking for that late pitch. And Rupp runs him down from behind. I do think he fell right on his wrist.
Well, he'll have some time to recover because the third quarter has expired. Appalachian State got the only points in that third quarter. As we head toward the next 15 minutes, they lead it 19-7. Well, the Mountaineer has to be enjoying the way things have worked out through the first 3 quarters of play. Matt Swearhead on the sidelines tells me the Mountaineer might be undergoing a facelift in the near future.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll have to check with Matt about that.
That means there's some new merchandise on its way as we speak, I guess.
Power I formation, and the handoff goes to Korneitzer, who scored a touchdown in the third quarter. He's stacked up a little bit shy of the first down yardage.
You know, Dave, Appalachian State of Coach Jerry Moore haven't really had to use. Corn Knights are coming out of the backfield, but he is one. He says if we really have trouble getting it to our wide receivers, if they're covering well, we just have a little dump over the middle, and Corn Knights has done very, very well of catching the football in practice and in games.
Caught 10 passes. 4th down, and they're going to go for it, and they've been quite successful on 4th down conversions this year. 3 out of 3. Corn Knights are in motion. The toss back. Averill was stopped initially, and he is very, very close. He had to change directions in the backfield. Furman thinks they've made the play, and it's all going to depend, Sam, I think, on the spot.
It is. Left foot, right foot. We've heard that before, right? Whichever spot it happens to be. I tell you what, the way the ball is spotted right now, it is going to be extremely close. And they're going to have to bring it all the way. Abril, of course, from Hemet, California, out in the Palm Springs area, has felt the heat before. And I tell you what, he had to do a little stutter stepping before he could get that play underway. Had he been able to catch it with a full head of steam, probably wouldn't have much of doubt he was going to make the first down.
Furman's really going to want him to stretch that chain, make sure all the links are unkinked.
No.
And let's see.
It's a discussion, ladies and gentlemen.
Get out the room key and see if it fits in there.
Goodness.
They stopped them.
Furman holds him. My, oh my, how close can you get?
Furman with a big defensive stop on 4th down. The first time this year that Appalachian State has not been able to convert on a 4th down try.
And there you see how he had to kind of stutter a little bit before he got going? Really kind of look for the hole rather than having a designated place to run through. And the blockers doing the job they need. He had to stutter to try to find a place. And the defensive Furman just latched down on it good.
So let's see if the momentum swings with that defensive stance by Furman. Justin Hill, the quarterback. They faked the pitch to the tailback, instead right it with the fullback up the middle. With 14 minutes to go in the game, Furman is down by 12 points.
Now you wonder, yes, they are trying to run. They're trying to keep it honest in the middle. Now you're wondering if you can get a Kitchens or a Berrien starting to fly, or maybe do they come underneath? Can they throw to some of their short people? And the fact that Owen, the tight end, does he catch a couple of big balls right now? It should be very interesting as Cosby goes out and Rentz comes in for him at the tailback.
Sam, that was the first carry of the game for Lewis Ivory, who came in as the leading rusher in total yards and yards per carry. They give it to the pitchman, Kitchens, out of the backfield. Guess what? He had a welcoming committee waiting for him on the corner.
Well, they have played great support defense on that far side on most all of the wide stuff. That time, Corey Hall, who, by the way, is the younger brother of Joey Hall, the linebacker for Appalachian State. And Corey at 6'4", 183, they affectionately call him the Stork, turned that one in on the corner very nicely. You can see the delay. Hill makes the pitch. There's one of the 12 or 14, 15 times they try to get it to Kitchens. As he got the support on the outside, also coming up was Tatum to make the first hit.
Quickly, it's become 3rd down and 3 for Furman, trying to get some momentum going offensively. And nothing doing. Wow, they gave it on the quick hitter to the fullback who went nowhere. Lewis Ivory getting his first carries of the game. And that was a huge defensive stance by Appalachian.
And you saw the man up on the line of scrimmage. That's a strong safety. Chuck Payne, number 9, was in on the tail end of the play. This time it was stuffed up from the word go. There wasn't anything in that position. Of course, they tried to work at the outside. That's Payne trying to drag the ball carrier down from behind. But again, Ivory was stopped at the line of scrimmage. Big play by Appalachian State.
Furman went nowhere after stopping Appalachian State on downs. Now they're forced to punt. Willis. Skinner from the 26. Runs into his own man, but takes it across the 40-yard line. Good return by Skinner.
He and Tatum are going to have a long, long talk after this over. He almost knocked his own man down.
We're all in shadows now in the 4th quarter here in Boone. 19-7, Appalachian State has the football back. They've been assessed a penalty on the return for a holding, but they're holding on to a 12-point lead as Daniel Jeremiah, the quarterback, gets instructions and trots back on. He's been the main man today. He's been the catalyst as the option quarterback. Error-free football by both teams.
That time the hold coming from the spot of the infraction because the ball was still in the air. And a possession, of course, will bring it back, and it's deep in their own territory.
Starting at his 17-yard line. He gives it to the lone back behind him, Abril, who cuts it back. And right about now, you'd expect Furman to try to be tackling that football. Matt Swearad has a guest on the sidelines.
Thanks, Dave. You and Sam were talking about the facelift that Yosef's going to go under. Yosef is the longtime mascot of the Mountaineers here at Appalachian State, and for many years he's been roaming the mountains up here, looking kind of gruff like this, but he's actually said he's going to do it. He's going to get that facelift, and the new Yosef's coming out sometime in maybe January. They're going under a new celebration next year, the Centennial Celebration, 100 years of ASU, new logo, and a new look for Yosef. You ready, big guy? He says he's all right. Let's go back upstairs.
What if it includes an ear piercing?
I don't know about that guy.
Jeremiah, the handoff to Abril, running room across his 30-yard line. And he looks like he is about to move the chains. He has. First down signal. Chris Abril from California, junior college transfer.
Let's take a look at this. Is just simply called winning the line of scrimmage now by Appalachian State. Abril just taking advantage of what holes are there as he runs it up. Got to pass along Doug Tutt, our producer out in the truck. He said, if you've been hanging around these hills for 100 years, you probably look like that too.
I just want to see the results and then see if I can get a deal at the same time.
You bet.
Keeping the ball on the ground, trying to move the clock, and what a job by Jeremiah. He was just flowing. Just moving, and he has picked up another first down.
Do I hear Offensive Player of the Week once again? He's certainly going to be one of the leading candidates, I know.
Last week he did it with his arm. Today it's the feet. Now watch this. Look how he just flows.
83 yards now for the afternoon by the young man from Northeast Louisiana as he transferred in here. Was not a set down for a year, transferring from 1A to 1AA, and he has really paid some dividends.
Good bit of play calling now. Good play calling to keep the ball on the ground and work that clock, as well as the tiring Furman defense. By the way, Jeremiah playing today before his dad is in attendance, Dr. David Jeremiah.
8-1, second down and 9.
So Jeremiah, by the way, his father is the Turning Point Ministry out in San Diego, California. You know, last year when Appalachian State had Bake Turner kind of, I don't know, he could run the ball, but nothing like this. This is such a total dimension that Appalachian State has now with Jeremiah away from Baker. He threw the ball around, threw it very well. Jeremiah does not throw it that well, but he does have the dimension of running it.
Rashad Slade motions across. They keep it on the ground, and here comes Abril again. Huge hole to work through, and there's a late flag that might go against App State. That's good news and bad news for Furman. If it's against App State, it gives them yet another running play to kill more time on the clock.
One of the guys downfield blocking was number 51. That is Scott Williams, the center out of Snellville, Georgia, senior, 6'4", 266 pound. You take a look at this lineup for Appalachian State. There's a lot of youngsters out there. Furman's got the equal amount, though, I think. And the Mountaineers are caught.
Another holding call. So the penalties are starting to mount here in the second half, but still.
Holding on the offense. Replay second down.
No fumbles, no interceptions in this game.
Furman, by the way, will be going for, if they can make it, their second consecutive game with no turnovers. Unfortunately, if they don't do something big here, it's going to be on a losing effort today.
Furman has the Citadel next week. App State has Georgia Southern. Here's a quick pitch in the flat. And with the football is Skinner. Look at him go.
Look out.
Skinner needs one man to beat. Skinner at the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown. Oh, they marked him out of bounds. No. Touchdown. With a diving attempt and the score. What a dynamic play after the catch by Darryl Skinner. And that one should just about do it.
Well, a great effort on the other end by Furman's Walter Booth to try to catch him. Again, nothing fancy about this. We told you all day that we're going to try to get it out to the speed people. Watch the block up the middle here. And the rest of it's all Skinner. Slade is downfield. He's making the block to the outside. You saw him right there. And as Booth is the last man to do it. Hello. Touchdown ASU. Just broke the plane.
He dove right out of the picture, but he did cross the plane. Terrific run by Skinner, who's had a couple over 70 yards called back because of penalties this year. Now the try for the point is good. And that ups the score now to 26-7. I'll bet the first thing Skinner did was look back and make sure there was no laundry on the ground.
You're right.
There's the biggest play of the game, the most exciting. And App State now leads it 26-7.
Home teams, Fox Attitude. You're watching Fox Sports South.
A lot of happy fans in the Happy Valley as they lead it 26-7. Here's that big play.
You know, one of the nice things about a receiver, watch as his stride starts to get longer and longer and longer, and he starts to stretch it out right here. He knows Booth is there. He's already seen Slade take care of the man to the outside, and then when Booth pushes, he dives for the score. But it's great to see a guy with that kind of speed. When his stride just gets longer and longer, he knows he's got a chance to go all the way.
Sophomore out of Rockingham, and he scores. Big day for Darrell Skinner. Now Kitchings will have a try from the 7-yard line. The return is up the gut. And a nice one to about the 38, 39 by Des Kitchings. Skinner, by the way, with his receiving yardage today, has broken 1,000 on his career.
And you have a strange feeling there's going to be a lot more for Darrell Skinner, the way he can catch and run the football, and only a sophomore.
And you know, they were running, and kind of lulled, I think, Furman to sleep. Sure. And then all of a sudden that tunnel screen, that jailbreak play, various names for it. Miami started it in the late 80s, and everybody has picked it up now. Kitchings came across. Here's a toss in the flat to Berrien. And he takes it for about 8 yards to the 48-yard line.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I was working down in Florida doing the Hurricane football with Lamar Thomas and, of course, Copeland, the other receiver. And Mr. Toretta and company just flipped it out and just stepped out of the way and let him do the rest of the thing. Nice job there by Appalachian State, though, on that last play.
Sam, they used to run it with those 3 wide receivers, and then any one of those 3 used to slant over the middle.
Williams was the other playing for Dallas, their kick returner. Yeah, oh, yeah. And when you get an offensive line that doesn't get anybody close to Toretta all night long, you can do that. Injured player for Furman down here.
Well, 9 minutes to go in this game, and the lead is 26-7. You saw Kitchings was the motion man that time.
They just get it out to the near side, Berrien. Berrien is not the man down. I believe it's the man that was blocking behind him. And not coming up. By the way, Ben Akins, who went out a concussion for Appalachian State early on. McCall went out with a bad ankle. He has not played in the second half. Couple of pretty big injuries for Appalachian State, getting ready for Georgia Southern. Of course, on the other side, Rogers, another one of their starting linebackers, injured early in the game. He hasn't played all game long. And now another one of their players down now.
Josh Moore out of Cross Hill, South Carolina, 294-pound sophomore. They're looking at his ankle, I believe. He's going to have to be helped off.
Let's watch the end of this again. This is Berrien again. And as he gets right from behind, again, he just kind of got caught up from behind and got knocked down. And I believe somebody fell into the back of his ankles there, at least the back of his leg. And you can see him hobbling off to the sideline with a shoe off already.
Well, now Furman undoubtedly will have to put the ball in the air, down by 3 touchdowns. And they'll start out with a slot to the left. Now we'll see how App State plays it defensively. Only one man in the backfield now as Crosby comes in motion. Hill with a short drop. Now the roll, the throw, and again only one man in the vicinity. That was Kitchings, and it was well covered by Appalachian State. They've done a terrific job all afternoon.
Well, Tatum and Kitchens have had just a classic matchup today. Tatum, number 11, the defensive back for Appalachian State. Of course, we know Kitchens can catch and run. Let me give credit where credit is due, though, because Appalachian State had 5 men up on the line of scrimmage, including 1 linebacker. The offensive line stood their ground, gave Hill at least a little time to throw the football. This is late. You're down very badly in the game, but they're still trying to do their best on that offensive line. I salute them for it today.
Hill 6 out of 14, just 75 yards. And he shows the option now. And down he goes. I mean, there's really no doubt you have to throw now to get back in the game. So the option is rather dubious at this point.
Joey Hall on the last play. Bobby Johnson on the sideline. Bobby, of course, has called the plays for the most part as an offensive coordinator. When he was there under Coach Satterfield at Furman, he does the same thing here with the Paladins. Now with a 4th down, looks like they're going to kick it away again.
Still 8 minutes to go in the game. Furman's Lee Willis had a pretty good day punting. This one's off the side of his foot. Probably his poorest effort of the game.
Except the one that jumped straight back on it for about 20 yards. Oh, my. That was a kicker's nightmare early on.
Well, App State gets the football back with 7:38 to go in the game. They're leading already by a score 26-7. You can expect to see a lot of running when we come back on Fox Sports South. Back with you in Boone, North Carolina. Appalachian State leading 26-7. They have recorded 9 sacks. And they have a big lead in the passing yardage department, 145-75.
Furman was hoping to establish that running game. They're almost 3-1 in the running game, but they just haven't been able to do that either today. And then the passing game just was non-existent against Jerry Moore. Got to be happy with his secondary today. They've had some good secondary sacks to go along with those 9 that they've had there, I think.
Jeremiah's got all the way at quarterback. He hands it off to the fullback. And they're opening some big holes. That time it was Kornheitzer on the carry. I think when all is said and done in this game, Sam, everywhere that Kitchings went, Appalachian was waiting for him.
That's right.
Look for, and that was their motto, and that's what they did. Matt Swearitt has something for us.
Guys, Josh Moore of Furman, the tackle that went down with the ankle injury from Cross Hill, South Carolina. He is out with a sprained ankle. They've taken his shoe off. They've unwrapped his foot. He's up there with the ice pack on his leg. He is done for the day and questionable for next week.
Again, it's Kornheitzer. And he is close to the first down. That's why the officials stopped the clock momentarily. But there is a penalty marker down as well.
Hey, well, I got a quick moment of thanks to Bill Dyer, the new sports information director at Appalachian State, Hunter Reed over at Furman. Of course, Jerry Moore at Appalachian State, Bobby Johnson over at Furman. Always great with their staffs when we get ready for a football game. They give entirely of their time. We appreciate it very much in our preparation for the game.
And one of Bill's first things that he's done here and accomplished at App State
holding on the offense. Replay second down.
Take the nuts out of the brownies in the press box.
He said that rather proudly, too, didn't he?
And I saluted him for that effort.
Yeah. Rochelle Laney, of course, and his wife Joanne treating us to a nice dinner last night along with Charlie Lyle of the Southern Conference. Very excited about it. An exciting football season, and it comes with App playing Georgia Southern next week. Could be a dandy.
I told Bill all the years I knew him at Syracuse, didn't know he could bake brownies. Here's a run by Jeremiah, who's done a lot of this very effectively. Look at the changes of directions. He looked like a slalom skier coming down the middle.
My, oh, my, oh, my.
He could put that to work on nearby Beach Mountain.
Well, he had to go over to Big Bear out in California. Grew up in El Cajon. He had to learn some of that on that slope. This was a play. He went back, and I have no idea if it was a busted play or what, but he went back and said, nah, here I come.
Let's count the changes of direction.
Yeah, here he goes. He's looking. Nope, it was a design play. He was just coming back for a delay, and he just takes it up the middle. But what he does after he gets it through that line of scrimmage is almost unbelievable.
Looked like he was running the gates on a slalom course. I counted 6 changes of direction anyway. Here's the fullback on the dive play.
Will Carnicer on the run. Near the 40-yard line.
Time is definitely an ally of Appalachian State now. We're under 6 minutes to go, and they lead at 26-7, trying to end 2 years of frustration against Furman. You know, Sam, so often we hear about teams that really don't like each other, but there wasn't that kind of feeling coming into this game. There was a lot of respect, almost a mutual admiration society, and both teams respected the coaching and the playing on each side, and so there wasn't that enmity coming in. But the game has been hard fought, cleanly played, and clearly Appalachian State has had the better of it. Little draw play to Abril and nothing doing.
Chris Abril on the carry.
So that's going to bring up now a third down and long situation. Third down at about 12.
Kopczynski, by the way, out of Kingsport, Tennessee, in the shadow of East Tennessee State University. Sophomore Steve at 6'4", 246, got a handful of jersey and just would not let go. We haven't really called his name a lot today. We thought he was going to be a pretty solid player along the front line against App, but they have really blocked, and guess why? Clark was right in front of him.
Shotgun now. Jeremiah with a little shovel pass to Leatherwood. It's nothing more really than a running play to try to get Leatherwood involved, but a nice variation.
Well, he's trying to pad his passing stats now, I can tell already here.
Yeah, it does count as a pass officially. On a left-handed pass at that.
That was.
Now the punt coming up. Brian Riley to punt. On 4th down and 7. Smerdzinski is back deep.
They really kept him in check tonight and done a good job against their kick coverage.
Does Appalachian State have enough men on the field? They're letting the clock run down.
They're counting. And they're going to take a delay.
Yeah, they did have 11.
Dead ball. Delay of game on the offense. 4th down.
The ball back to the 35-yard line.
I couldn't help but look at that World Championship ring on your finger with New York. A big battle going on again, huh?
Well, they've got their work cut out for them.
They do indeed.
Beautiful punt. Smerdzinski way back inside his 15. And good coverage by Appalachian State. He is down at the 15-yard line. Boy, they are playing from start to finish.
One thing you can't really teach a punter, it's called hang time. If that ball stays up there long enough, your guys, even maybe the less fleet of foot, can get down under a punt. This time they got the quick one down. Tatum the first to reach. Smerdzinski and drops him down for virtually no gain, but that was some great hang time and an excellent punt by Appalachian State.
First down at the 16-yard line.
It's been a big plus for them today, too. Their kicking game, Stuart Jones has done a great job for them.
Oh, terrific job with the field goals and the kickoffs through the end zone. Now Justin Hill with just 3:49 to go in the game. And he'll pitch it out. And a move to the outside by Quentin Burton. He gets up to the 25-yard line. They keep the clock running. And let's see if Furman goes without a huddle.
Down at the 25-yard line.
Matt Swearad again on the sidelines.
Thanks, guys. We've been coming up here to Boone with our Fox Sports South cameras for many years. We tell you how beautiful it is up in this part of the country, the mountains of western North Carolina. One thing we never told you about was the place called Howard's Knob. It is the highest point here in Boone, North Carolina. And back in the 70s when that energy crisis hit the country, NASA put a plan together and a study together to come up here and kind of put a plan to look towards alternative, cheap ways at making energy and getting power going, and they thought about windmills. They put 3 really large windmills up on top of Howard's Knob here in Boone to do this study to see if they can get some alternative energy. As you can tell, there's no one with the windmills in their backyard these days. It didn't work. Back upstairs.
Look at Hill take off. Hill cutting it back, and he's knocked down inside the 40-yard line. Well, that will definitely pad his stats, and it was a fine effort by Justin Hill, who had the long touchdown run near the end of the first half.
Well, this was another one of those plays that was designed to go outside. He sees something inside, and Hill, with that great athletic ability, just turns it upfield.
First down, Paladins.
He tried to turn in, of course, right over the top and taking a tumble and not getting up too quickly again. I believe that's Nyhazel, who's down on the football field here for Appalachian State. But I tell you what, Justin Hill may not have the same kind of elusive speed on the outside Jeremiah has. Once he sees an open, he does a good job of hitting. He's already scored a long touchdown and runs off another one here.
Yeah, Hill has a lot of heart on those scampers upfield. So we have an official timeout with 2:40 to go in the game, and the score 26-7.
Be sure to tune into This Week in Mountaineer Football.
Adam Nyhazel, a long run, and then he might have got kicked on that tackle.
Well, he's also a guy that's been playing, we've already alluded to, a very bad back. He's had 2 back injuries to it. He's had some cortisone put in that back early on, not this year, but last year, to just try to stay in the game. He's a guy that cannot set at all in class. He has to stand, and yet he has the heart to still play the game, and now he's down, and let's hope it's nothing more severe than just knocking the wind out of him here.
Well, Fox Sports South is going deep, taking you past the headlines and inside the biggest stories for an insight you just can't find anywhere else. Join host Joe Buck for Going Deep Sunday at 9 on Fox Sports South. Adam Nyhazel, who played in Summerville, South Carolina for a high school coach by the name of John McKissick, who won more games as a high school coach than anybody else in history.
Wow.
400 plus. Adam had back surgery twice in his career, and here he is, still playing with his heart out. Hill bouncing in the pocket, throwing deep. Nice catch on the pass over the middle of the deep post pattern run by Kitchings. Perfectly drilled that time. Maybe the best pass in the game.
You know, all afternoon long, and then back when they go back and look at the tape of this game, the inside and interior defense of Appalachian State up the middle has not been, I'm sure, what the defensive coaches would like. Appalachian State, however, has to consider that Furman has tried to do as much as they can in the middle, and what times they've thrown there, it's been rather successful today.
Clock runs at 2:23 to go. Into the flat. Comeback catch. Or no. They rule it incomplete. Intended for Tyron Berrien. Berrien signaling a timeout, but it's not necessary when the clock stops on an incompletion.
He quickly said oops, though. Or overs, I guess he said.
All right, Hill is jogged to the bench, got in the play. Furman, if anything, would like to just put another score on the board.
By the way, Appalachian State going to Georgia Southern. They're playing at Western Carolina tonight, trying to keep their lofty second ranking in the country. And, of course, Appalachian State will do nothing but improve on their 4th rank. That'll be a heck of a football game next week in Statesboro.
Little confusion as they try to get the formation. 4 wideouts, a real spread formation for Hill. Kind of looks like a prevent defense also being run by App State. Here comes Hill up the middle. He's got clear sailing, and he's down at the 5-yard line by his own volition. Hill scored the only touchdown for Furman late in the first half.
Takes a good choice of going down at the 5. They were converging in a hurry. Appalachian State did come in with 7 basically defensive backs. They dropped even all the linebackers back that time.
Well, this game today will certainly not hurt Appalachian State's chances of moving up in the polls. Here's the pitch back, and Quentin Burton cuts to the end zone. Touchdown. Nicely done by Quentin Burton off the late option pitch for the touchdown for Furman. And the Paladins score for the 2nd time in the game.
Mountaineers defense just neutralized along the line of scrimmage, and Burton got a pretty good hole. That time Lovren was taken out of the play. Hunt was completely out. Williams also. And Holbert were taking a stride, and it was easy sailing there for Burton to step in. They go for 2.
App State came into this game ranked 3 and 4 in the respective polls. Furman 18 and 20. Now the Paladins in danger of dropping out, as they'll try for 2 here, down by a score of 26-13.
Nice numbers you saw, that 235 yards rushing by Appalachian State. That's quite a feather in their cap. They're going to really kind of use that as saying, okay, now we're establishing more and more on the ground game.
Crosby was big early in the first quarter. and seldom heard from since. They go for two. The clock will not run on the conversion. Hill will run, and he's brought down shy of the goal line. It stays 26-13 with 1:46 to go. So you can now expect the obligatory onside kick.
The most exciting play in all of college football. Well, you got to say a great deal about Hill. This kid's got a lot of heart in there. The kid is going to be around for a while, just a sophomore. Out of Greer, South Carolina. Good look at him as he comes to the sideline. A disappointing day for him. He hoped to come in, kind of play up to that billing, of course, that Jeremiah had gotten at Wake Forest last week. Came in, did his job, kept him back to 13-7 at halftime, but again, it just wouldn't be. I'll tell you what, the first drive that Appalachian State did coming out in the third period, took it the length of the football field. They score. That really kind of told you what was going to happen, as Furman was really going to have to play well to win the game.
Certainly gave them the momentum back after that late first half touchdown by Furman and reestablished, their strength up front, their running game.
Thank you very much.
So we'll see the good hands people up around that 10-yard differential between the two teams, and we'll see who comes up with the scramble.
Here's that last scoring drive, capped off by the Quentin Burton 5-yard run. Burton out of Hart, Georgia. He consumed 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and you see the ball placed. Try to kick it end over end, get that one big hop. Four people describe the kicker, the other 6 on the other side of the field. No doubt about what they're going to try. Here it comes. Does it hop up? Yes, it does. Is it recovered by Furman? It looks like it might be. It came back into the hands of a receiver. No, now they say App State got it.
It's a tug of war down there. Boy, did exactly what they'd hoped to do, is take that one big hop. Appalachian State trying to get it on the jump ball. It came loose. Somebody from Furman at least had a shot at it. But it will be Appalachian State's ball.
So it's at the Furman 47-yard line with 1:44 to go. Furman has 2 timeouts, according to the scoreboard, to use. And recovering that fumble is Chris Abril. Shades of Joe Pisarcik.
It looked like he just, he stepped on the big A there, and it's maybe a little slipperier out in the center of that field than it was. Foot just went out from under him as he tried to push off on it.
And as you might expect, Furman took the timeout, so that leaves them with 1 to go with 1:36 remaining.
It's been nice working with you today. Thanks.
Really enjoyed it, Sam.
Thanks to Matt Swearad, always doing a great job down below, the voice of the Charlotte Knights AAA baseball team.
By the way, I tried to convince Matt to climb up there on the big mountain he showed us and hang an APP up there like the Hollywood Hills.
At least to go find those windmills, I guess Palm Springs, California took the hint because they've got, thousands and thousands.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Palm Springs out with, actually, Sonny Bono was part of trying to get some of that going and continued. Actually, it started well before he got in office. But, again, there's thousands of them when you hit the desert out in Palm Springs.
Well, Jerry Moore is 1 and 36 seconds away from his 101st win.
That could be McCall there coming back out. I believe it is. That's a right ankle.
So he went and got taped up, but he never took his football pants off.
That's right.
Here's a late flag. We might have ourselves a turnover-free football game, which is good to put on the resume. I mean,
now, I'm going to remember that because you said Appalachian State had gone 3 for 3 on 4th downs, and they missed.
Yes.
Now do you say we're going to go on a turnover-free game, and what's going to happen now, right?
Well, we got, let's see, minute and a half to go.
All right. There's Jeremiah taking a little more punishment again.
Holding against the offense. Declined. Third down.
Once again, next week, the Citadel on tap for Furman. And Georgia Southern, a very tough opponent for Appalachian State. Furman has taken a timeout, which would be their last one.
Furman, a tired football club. They came in here with some injured players. Again, as I mentioned, particularly on the defense. It really kind of is, Bobby Johnson told me, he said, we're really kind of put together with masking tape at best right now. If some of our kids hold up, we can stay in it. We lose any more people, we could be in trouble. And as it turns out, they lost a couple more starters here in the game, and certainly the great ability of Jeremiah and this Appalachian State club has now given them a very disappointing loss, I know, here in Boone.
Well, Appalachian State is going to go to 3-0 in the conference, 5-0 overall back in '95. Jerry Moore's team ran the conference schedule at 8-0 and finished at 12-0 in the regular season, the only team that has ever done that in the Southern Conference, before eventually losing in the 1AA playoffs to Stephen F. Austin.
By the way, Sports South are looking forward to that game next week. Should be a dandy. Georgia Southern, Appalachian State, Statesboro, Georgia. Not too many better places to go in to play football. They really get pumped up down there.
So now Furman can no longer stop the clock with a minute and a half to go. Jeremiah has gone all the way at quarterback. And if there was any doubt about who is number one, he's removed it. Here he is in a rollout. He's done it all afternoon. And here he is with clever footwork and a baseball slide to get out of bounds. And there is a late flag.
Yeah, that was uncalled for there.
Late hit, late flag.
Back on the two quarterbacks, Jeremiah along with Reeves. When Reeves was going well, who was his biggest cheerleader when he came off the field? It was Jeremiah. When Reeves got hurt last week, Jeremiah came in and started rallying the club. Who was the biggest cheerleader for Jeremiah? It was Reeves. These are two sophomores that are battling for the same spot. They know they're going to be here for the 3 more year duration, and they know that they're going to have to play one behind the other. So, but they're very much all for each other. And I was really excited to hear about that. There he is, clearly out of bounds. And Boughton was the man. I'm not sure he really could contain himself, but he did get him hit very late out of bounds.
Well, Jeremiah only has to have a couple of more snaps before time runs out in this one. The Appalachian State coaching staff in the booth to our left, vacating now, going down on the field. They want to be part of the on-field celebration. Could be take a knee time with 1 minute and 9 seconds to go in the power I formation behind Jeremiah. There he goes, and now it's just a matter of counting it down. They'll have to run one more play. So now the fans who turned out in nice numbers this afternoon, very appreciative of the efforts of their home team, letting their troops hear it, as Appalachian State is going to come away with a 26-13 victory.
They've got to be a little concerned, though, with McCall going out of that backfield. Now they got to go against Georgia Southern next week. That has a very good defensive run defense. I mean, they stop the run almost at every turn. So that's going to be very curious to see who's able to step up. Brill has done, I think, a very good job. Let's face it, McCall was truly their #1 runner when he came into this game. He goes down with an ankle. Maybe he's all right for next week.
Right, Sam, and App State gets some continuity of the quarterback spot as Jeremiah goes all the way. Appalachian State has defeated Furman 26-13 here in Boone, North Carolina. We hope you enjoyed it. We're going to step aside for a couple of messages and then return to the high country for some final comments right after this. But for now, Appalachian State wins it 26-13. Appalachian State, behind the running of Daniel Jeremiah, who rushed for 100 yards, has defeated Furman 26-13. First league loss for Furman. Appalachian State goes to 3-0. And now for Sam Smith, I'm Dave Cohen saying so long from Boone, North Carolina, where the final score is Appalachian State 26, Furman 13. Coming up next, Fox Sports News Rewind. You've been watching Southern Conference football on Fox Sports South, your home of Fox Sports Net.